My daughter has really grown up. Mom knows that you were able to make the right choice. We are going to rush to another fortress to fight in 5 minutes. Your big brother will take you into battle. Protect yourself. It was evident that Mother Sue was a gentle person. Lu Xun hurriedly stepped forward and stated, "Don't worry, Auntie. I will definitely protect Sister Sue and won't let her get hurt." Ai Yajun smiled at him and nodded, while Su Xingbang snorted coldly and spoke. "Kid, I can promise to let Zitong follow you. I only have one request. In the future, when you step into the Ninth Order, I'll let you station at the border Great Wall for at least 30 years. Lu Xun sniffed with a serious face and replied, "Good. In the future, when I enter the 9th rank, I will definitely guard the border for 30 years to protect Yanxiao's peace and quiet." Su Xingbang patted Lu Xun's shoulder, then said to Ai Yajun, "Let's go, the child has his own path." Ai Yajun instantly transformed into a two-headed fire dragon with a wingspan of 38 feet, Su Xingbang mounted it, and the two transformed into a fiery red stream of light, quickly disappearing into the distant sky. Su Zitong froze for half a second before coming back to her senses. She had only seen her parents once in a long time, and every time, it was a very short gathering. This time, it was no exception. Su Mingjiang came and laughed. "Let's go, let's show you guys what a real border battlefield is." Su Mingjiang brought the 5 people to the city wall. The city wall was very high, 36 feet. It was said that this was an optimal height obtained through calculations. Too high, it would be easy to be collapsed by the impact of the demonic monsters from the center, and too low, the demonic monsters would easily pile up to the top through sheer numbers. When they didn't ascend the wall, Lu Xun heard the sound of explosions and the hissing of all kinds of demons and monsters, and when they got on the wall, they were shocked by the sight in front of them. They had thought that this defensive wall built on land against the ocean demons would not have many demons impacting it, but in fact, it could be densely packed with crabs, lobsters, octopuses, and the like that kept coming. Most of them were black, like a black torrent. Outside the city wall, the Imperial Dragon warriors formed a new wall. The dragon spirits that couldn't fly fought on the ground together with the Imperial Dragon envoys, while the dragon spirits and Imperial Dragon envoys that could fly formed the sky defense. It was just like the Demon Den camp, fighting to the best of one's ability, holding out for a set amount of time, switching to the top, and grabbing a break for themselves. Su Mingjiang opened his mouth and laughed. "You guys came at the right time. This point in time is the time period when the magic monsters are at their highest. There's no worry at all about not having any magic monsters to kill." After a pause, he looked towards a 6th-ranked dragon spirit in the distant sky and shouted, "Fonger, come down." It was a flying dragon covered in purple fire, with a wingspan of about 7 feet. It was considered a behemoth. The purple flame-flying dragon fell down and transformed into a tall woman in purple with a pretty and round face. "This is my wife, Fire Phoenixer." Su Mingjiang introduced Lu Xun and the others, and then introduced Lu Xun and the others to Fire Phoenixer. Fire Phoenixer looked at Su Zitong and smiled. "I heard your brother say that you evolved into a SSS-grade dragon spirit and reached the 4th rank in half a month. Come, let sister-in-law see how much battle power you have now." It had to be said that this Fire Phoenixer's sister-in-law was really pugnacious. Just after meeting, she pulled her sister-in-law to rush towards the pile of demonic monsters. Su Mingjiang didn't stop her. With Fire Phoenixer watching over her, there was no worry that Su Zitong would get hurt. He looked at Lu Xun and the others and said, "Let's go, you guys just follow me and kill down." With that, he raised his right hand, and the thunder ripple flare opened, a layer of thunder attached to his body, and he leapt down from the city wall. Lu Xun looked toward Song Shio and the girls and smiled. "Let's start fighting then." As his words fell, a golden dragon gate emerged, and with a single step, a gigantic dragon man wearing abyssal dragon armor appeared, while behind him, the 3 women also changed their forms one after another. Dragon head fish body golden scales of chi dragons, bull horns dragon body yellow scales of prisoner cattle and have a dragon head but body like a jackal Jarius. They flew up in the air with clouds and together with Lu Xun, they threw themselves into the battle. The demons outside the city walls were mostly 2nd-order demons, with 3rd and 4th-order demons being the backbone, and the number of demons above the 4th order was very small. These demonic monsters either carried hard armor or were very soft and tough soft-bodied monsters. In short, they were very difficult to break through the defense. One had to use spiritual energy to destroy their defense layer with special attributes, and a pure power attack, on the other hand, had to surpass at least 1 major rank in order to cut them down. The Imperial Dragon warriors who participated in the war were all at the 3rd rank. Soldiers who participated in the war, their strengths were all in the 3rd and 4th ranks, so naturally, they could easily deal with 2nd-rank demons, but when facing demons of the same rank, they often needed to go through a good deal of wrangling. However, most of the battles were the result of the Imperial Dragon envoys and their own dragon spirits cooperating, locally maintaining the advantage of 2 against 1, as a way to ensure the frequency of decimation. In any battle, winning with less and winning with weakness were all exceptions. Often it appeared on the surface that it was winning with weakness, but in reality, its localization, it was with a strong strength that the other party was decimated. This is the summary of human wisdom. After the battle lasted for an hour, Lucian became more and more courageous. On the one hand, he gained energy supplies through his Devour talent. On the other hand, through his Brave Crown talent, he slowly increased his battle power. For the sake of a long-lasting battle, he didn't use his strongest state, the true dragon form. Although the true dragon form was immensely powerful, the time it could last was very short, and at this time, the demonic monsters he was facing were not of a high rank, and in their semi-dragonized state, they could be killed in a completely chaotic manner. Suddenly, a huge black shadow rushed towards Lucian. He hurriedly dodged over, and then saw clearly the appearance of that thing. It was a crayfish with wings and horns on its head, more than 8 meters long, and its tail could eject a white stream of air, allowing it to jet and accelerate as it flew, shooting itself out like a cannonball. The name of this devil monster Lucian knows, called one-horned flying shrimp, is a common devil monster in the ocean, and this one-horned flying shrimp's horn is silver, representing that it is a lord-level existence. The breath on its body reached the 6th stage intermediate. Monsters also have qualities. For some common monsters, human-made monsters are divided into 4 levels: ordinary, elite, lord, and king, and the lord level quality corresponds to humans' B-level and A-level talent level. Silverhorn's one-horned flying shrimp was at the lord level, and as it continued to devour and grow, it was possible for it to enter the 9th rank. Therefore, this demonic monster was also extremely powerful, and decapitating it was difficult, but necessary. Lucian knew that the true dragon bloodline in his body had a great attraction to demonic monsters and could easily attract powerful demonic monsters to covet it, so seeing this silver-horned flying shrimp charging towards him, he wasn't surprised. Concentrating on the opposite side, his body electric light flashes, he steeply met the silver-horned flying shrimp rushed up. The silver-horned flying shrimp's 2 large pincers were raised forward, and its tail violently ejected high-temperature airflow, guided by its wings, shooting towards Lucian. When the two were about to collide, Lucian's Dragon Might and Evil Suppressor, Golden Light were released together to curb the silver-horned flying shrimp's momentum, and immediately after, his figure dodged the head-on impact with the silver-horned flying shrimp with the help of the cloudy aura, and then struck the dragon's tail, striking the joints of the silver-horned flying shrimp's left wing. This guy immediately shattered his exoskeleton and was sent flying out in a diagonal direction, and it wanted to rely on its wings to stabilize its body, but it was unable to do so. Lucian followed and flew, but saw the silver-horned flying shrimp violently opened his mouth and sprayed a water arrow. It seems to be just an ordinary water arrow, but it contains extremely violent spiritual energy. Once hit, even if it is a 5th-ranked Imperial Dragon envoy will be seriously injured. However, Lucian did not dodge, but released a sound wave, directly cancelled it out. Against the energy aftermath, came to the side of the silver-horned flying shrimp that was unsteady and unable to make effective resistance. The dragon claw probed out and grabbed a piece of its exoskeleton and used it to tear it. In the process, with the power of thunder destroying the skin and flesh connection of the silver-horned flying shrimp, hardened its exoskeleton from the blood and flesh to tear down a large piece. Lucian bit on it, and large chunks of flesh and blood were torn and devoured by him, while the silver-horned flying shrimp struggled painfully, only to find that it was firmly controlled, as well as paralyzed by the thunderbolt, and was unable to break free at all. At this moment, the silver-horned flying shrimp felt that this human was even more terrifying than a demonic monster. There were many synonyms for war, madness, killing, bloodshed, berserkness and so on, and at this moment, all of these things could be seen on Lucian. He was covered in golden dragon scales, and at this time, he was already covered in a large amount of dark red blood. In fact, he could have utilized his water control talent to isolate these things, but he didn't. This blood, that fishy smell, could cover up his golden scales. Under the sunlight, his golden scales were too conspicuous, and he was like a living target, constantly being attacked by all sorts of demons and monsters. It's not that he's afraid or can't cope with it, it's just that he's not interested in killing those low-ranked monsters, and he's now specializing in hunting monsters above the 5th rank level, so that he can play a certain role in refining the effect. Moreover, it had to be at least a demonic monster of the 5th rank or above that had value for him to devour. The battle began to last for 8 hours, and the remaining 4 hours were used for rest and cultivation, and in the midst of the tight pace of life, Lucian and the 4 women's cultivation had gained a great deal of progress. After only a month, Lucian and Ruan Qinghan stepped into the upper 4th rank back and forth, and the remaining 3 women, they were all still in the middle 4th rank. Lucian's cultivation speed was the fastest amongst the few, because not only could he cultivate with Song Xiao's devouring talent, he could also use Ruan Qinghan's Brave Crown talent to enhance it, and then he could use Xiaoling Chan's Loud Sound Invisible talent to increase it, and he was able to quench his body with Su Zitong's Thunder power. With such multiple enhancements, he himself could also independently refine spiritual energy and absorb spiritual energy in his semi-dragonized state, instead of only being able to refine spiritual energy and cultivate with the help of the dragon spirits like the other royal dragon ambassadors. He was able to feed his cultivation with the help of 4 dragon spirits at the same time, so naturally, his cultivation was the fastest to increase. Therefore, despite the fact that Yuan Qinghan had directly reached the intermediate level of the 4th rank after taking the potion in the first place, and Lu Xun was only at the lower level of the 4th rank, it was Lu Xun who stepped into the upper level of the 4th rank first. If there were no accidents, among the several people, the first one to break through to the 5th rank would also be him, the Imperial Dragon Envoy. This situation was extremely rare. Because the cultivation of a dragon envoy depended on the transformation of the dragon spirit into spiritual energy, most of the dragon warrior combinations had a strong female and a weak male, and when the dragon spirit had evolved to a high level, it would then feed back to the dragon envoy for a level upgrade. Lu Xun, however, has turned into a person who can satisfy the 4 women's cultivation needs to absorb the spiritual energy while he himself improves, while the 4 women's cultivation speed, far from catching up with him. After learning of this situation, even Su Mingjiang, his great-uncle, couldn't help but marvel. No wonder you can contract 4 people, you are really good. Lu Xun accepted this compliment as a matter of course. After all, a man can't say he can't. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed, and this was the 67th day that Lu Xun and the others had come to the Great Wall of the Eastern Sea border defense. Lu Xun's strength had already reached the 4th order upper level consummation, but the distance to breakthrough seemed to feel almost something. Suddenly, a roar that seemed to be like a tiger's roar came from Lu Xun. Lu Xun turned his head to look and saw Yuan Qinghan not far away being jerked out by a huge tentacle. That sound just now, it was from her, a cry of pain and a warning. Lu Xun rushed over at the first opportunity. The tentacle. The owner of the tentacle was a huge conch-like thing, which had 17 tentacles growing out of its shell, with eyes growing on one side of the tentacle, and the head of the tentacle was a mouthpiece like a chrysanthemum blade. That shell looks not big, more than 2 zhang long. Did not expect to reach out to the tentacles, but there are more than 20 zhang, those tentacles single take out. How to see how the volume is bigger than the whole conch shell, but they are indeed all from the body of this devil monster. This demonic monster's spiritual energy level had clearly reached the upper 7th order, and, judging from its aura, its battle power could reach the 8th order, or else it would not have been possible to hit Yuan Qinghan, who was now at the upper 4th order, with a single blow. After judging the other party's battle power, Lu Xun knew that in his current state, he was not fully certain of charging up to fight. Therefore, he decisively released the dragon gate and took a step in with the golden light. Aang! After a high-pitched roar, a 5-clawed golden dragon with a body length of nearly 20 meters manifested. The strong dragon might and evil suppressing golden light forced the surrounding demons and monsters to retreat, and under the sunlight, the golden figure was incomparably dazzling. Lu Xun twisted his body and did not fly towards the tentacled demonic snail on the ground, but directly rushed into the clouds. In the next moment, dark clouds covered the sky, thunder and lightning flashed, and torrential rain poured down. In the midst of the wind, rain, thunder and lightning, Lu Xun felt the layer of barrier that bound him disappear, and he stepped into the 5th rank, becoming a 5th rank lower-level royal dragon envoy. Absorbing the power of the thunder and rain around him, his figure soared once again, from some 20 meters to more than 8 feet long, and with thunder and lightning shielding his body, he violently rushed out downwards, like thunder transforming into a dragon, and landed on top of that tentacled demon snail. The tentacled devil snail sensed the brilliant heavenly power and shrunk itself into its shell at some point, but the incomparably hard shell shattered the moment Lu Xun fell. The soft body of the tentacles inside the shell suddenly collapsed and flew out, but it was penetrated by the power of the thunder, emitting the sound of nuisance smoke. The thunder dispersed, and the tentacle magic snail in place twitched and jerked, apparently losing its ability to resist, but still having a little muscle memory. While it was still hot, Lu Xun directly swallowed it into his belly, refining the energy in it with the devour talent of the Chi Dragon. The maintenance time of the true dragon's body was limited. Lu Xun once again resumed his human form, and then became a half-dragon human form before he came to Yuan Qinghan's side. How are you doing? Do you need to go back to rest or receive treatment? Several people were strong in combat, but lacked healing abilities. Lu Xun and Song Xiao could make their injuries recover by devouring blood and flesh, but Yuan Qinghan and the others could not. Yuan Qinghan replied, "I'm fine, I can recover by continuing to fight." Her courageous crown talent could increase her full attributes with a certain healing ability attached. Lu Xun put his heart down. In the next battle, he would intentionally pay attention to a few girls' sparring matches, and when they faced attacks from powerful demonic monsters, he would take the initiative to appear to kill them. His current battle power was enough to fight against the lower 8th rank demonic monsters, and as long as he didn't encounter a lord-level demonic monster of the 8th rank or above, he could handle it. The time spent fighting passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it came to the 6-month deadline requested by the old madam. The Su family's old madam, Wang Yuqiu, personally came to this high-level fortress, and after seeing the several people's rankings, she was surprised. Surprisingly, they have improved so quickly. And then she placed her gaze on Lu Xun and continued. Especially you, an Imperial Dragon Envoy, are so much higher than the 4 of them in rank. Could this be the natural effect of the multiple contracts? It can make your cultivation level rise so quickly? Ruan Xinghan's 4 girls also looked at Lu Jin with a speechless expression. Really, a royal dragon envoy's rank being so much higher than a dragon spirit was indeed a bit too perverse. Especially, it was only just less than 9 months from the awakening day. In just half a year's time, Lu Jin's equivalent rank had heck of a lot higher than the upper 5th rank. In 1 month, he had risen from the 4th rank intermediate to the 4th rank upper. In 1.5 months, he had stepped into the 5th rank lower. In another 2 months, he had reached the 5th rank intermediate, and in the last 2.5 months, he had reached the 5th rank upper. From the time of his awakening until today, a full count of less than 9 months. His psychic energy level had soared all the way from 1st order lower to 5th order upper. Normally speaking, it would take at least 3 years for an S-ranked gifted or dragon spirit to step into the 5th rank. He reached the upper 5th rank in 9 months, and within a year, it was possible for him to enter the 6th rank. With such a cultivation speed, the word pervert was not enough to describe him. Su Mingjiang on the side was even more complex and rather depressed. When they first met, the two of them could still pass a couple of moves, but now if he were to fight Lu Jin, he would only be abused. The strength of the remaining 4 girls had also improved greatly. Apart from Su Zitong, who had not yet made a breakthrough and was only at the upper level of the 4th rank, the other 3 girls had all reached the lower level of the 5th rank. Facing the old lady's doubt and surprise, Lu Jin smiled and said, "With every additional contracted spirit I have, my own talent will be enhanced by 1 point, and my bloodline talent, which is now far more than SSS level, it's only right that it improves a little faster." "You call this boosting a little faster?" Su Mingjiang opened his mouth and said, "I told you, obviously the talent is only 1 rank higher than me, how could the gap be so big? But your dual talent is also too demonic. As long as you continue the contract, the speed of cultivation will continue to strengthen. Is it that you are going to step into the 9th rank next year, and the year after that, you will become the 10th rank? Lu Jin replied bashfully. "Maybe, no matter what, I will strive to cultivate on and strive to be able to gain even more strength to protect the people I want to protect." Hearing these words, a smile appeared on the old lady's face and said, "Very well, the royal dragon envoy and the dragon spirit are meant to cooperate with each other and accomplish each other. You are obligated to protect them since your strength has risen fast and is stronger than them." Saying this, she paused and looked at Su Zitong's several people and said, "You should also continue to work hard. With such a powerful imperial dragon envoy as your backing, your growth will be smoother." The several women all nodded their heads in agreement. The old madam continued again. "When the half-year period is up, you guys can leave here to meet up with your families. Although you are not soldiers, but with such talent and strength, I hope that you can participate in more battles at the front line in the future. On the one hand, honing your fighting ability, on the other hand, it can also be considered as making some contribution to this federation, this nation. After all, your stable and peaceful life for the first 18 years was exchanged for by countless warriors with their blood and lives." One could only say that the old lady was worthy of being the wife of Su Dingyuan, one of the guardian gods of China, and it should be said that one of the guardian gods here referred to the combination formed by the two of them jointly. That kind of patriotic feeling in her bones was reflected through her words and actions, and infected others around her. Lu Jin said seriously, "Grandma, don't worry, we will definitely return to the border to fight. I had promised Uncle Su that after stepping into the 9th rank, I would station at the Great Border Wall for 30 years. I will definitely do what I promised." The old lady sniffed, but her face was odd as she smiled and said, "Back then, Xingbang's father-in-law, Ai Qingyuan, said these words to him, and I didn't expect him to bring them directly to you." Su Zitong directly laughed out at his words, but he didn't give any face to his own father. Lu Jin also felt a bit dumbfounded, but didn't feel bad about it. Instead, he was surprised that Su Xingbang's father-in-law was actually the dean of the East Sea Academy, Ai Qingyuan. This was also right, it was indeed very difficult for high-quality dragon spirits to appear amongst the commoners, and it was usually these big families who looked for suitable contractual objects amongst each other. To be able to sit in the dean's seat of the East Ocean Academy, one of the 4 major academies of the Yanxia Federation, the AI family's heritage must not be bad. After all, Longxiang Academy was still a notch below the East Ocean Academy. In a place like Longxiang Academy, only one S-Class Dragon Spirit and S-Class Imperial Dragon Envoy could appear every few years, whereas in the 4 major academies, there were so many 2 or 3 almost every year. There was even no lack of SS rank and SSS rank gifted individuals arising. The Su family's status was self-evident, and it was normal for them to tie the knot with the AI family. The 5 of them left the Great Wall at the East Sea border and first returned to East Sea City to see Elder Su before following the army to Linyang City. They weren't going to stay in Linyang City for too long, having already stepped into the 5th rank. They needed at least a 6th rank demonic monster in order to gain the refinement of their fighting ability, but this next period of time they were going to focus more on their cultivation. Battles were important, but they wouldn't be as frequent as they were in the Demon Cave camps or the Great Wall of the Border. Regarding the plan for the back, it had already been thought up before they came back. Lu Xun found a demon hunting quest. Hunting Blue Ice River demon monsters. The Blue Ice River waters are infested with 3rd to 7th order demon monsters all year round. Choose a different section of the river to station and hunt, and get rewards based on the range of the station and the amount of time you station there. The Blue Ice River is located in the northern part of the 4 war zones and is close to the Great Wall in the north. The water is frozen and snowy all year round, but there are often demons in the water that land to destroy and kill planted food and human beings. But its appearance is very irregular and the river network is complicated, so sending troops to guard it is a waste of troops. After all, the Federation still had such a long border defense line to garrison, or else could it spare enough manpower? So there was the emergence of such long-term missions. The Demon Hunting Corps wanted a continuous output of points, and this kind of garrison mission was a good choice. Generally speaking, this kind of mission would find people to cooperate and take turns guarding the town, making it easy to spare time for cultivation. Lu Xun also had the same intention. He also planned that after cultivating to the 7th rank, he would directly head to the northern Great Wall to fight and grow his strength. At the same time, he had another purpose for going to the northern war zone this time. These days he had continued to look for new girls of the divine dragon bloodline. After all, for women were completely unable to fulfill his needs. There was still a need to continue contracting more girls and rescuing lost young girls. This matter was a bit grueling, and although there were many difficulties, he could persevere. He just wanted to give every young girl in trouble a chance to regain her life. And after searching carefully, he finally searched out a familiar name amongst the list of students from the previous year, and could be certain that the other party was the possessor of the divine dragon bloodline. Therefore, this time, he went over there at the same time to help another girl. While the 5 were resting in Linyang City, many people were already secretly plotting against them. When they had just returned from the East Sea border, the Sun family here had received news. In fact, they had wanted to take action against the few people right at the border, but the place where Lu Xun and the others were was the territory of the Su family, so neither the Sun family nor the Zhang family could intervene. When a few people came back, the Sun family wanted to do something, but it was also too late. The 5 people just stayed in the East China Sea for a few hours, and then directly to the city of Linyang. Neither the Sun family nor the Zhang family could intervene, so they could only wait for another opportunity. However, the other group of people intent on targeting Lu Xun was powerful all over the place, and that was the Holy Spirit sect. The Holy Spirit sect was a crazy organization. Their prototype was a doomsaying association before the demon monster invasion, which later developed into the Holy Spirit cult. To this day, the history of the demon monster invasion was the history of the Holy Spirit cult's existence. Regardless of the era, there will always be some people who go to extremes. They may have had an unfortunate childhood, or they may have been disillusioned in adulthood, or they may have pretended to be crazy to escape reality. In any case, they all had problems psychologically. These people, when aggregated, were a very frightening force. What's more, in such a special era where personal force had developed to a peak, the existence of the Holy Spirit cult was even more terrifying. The ultimate goal of their teachings was for the demonic monsters to kill everyone and restart everything. Among them, there were 2 things that they focused on doing. One was destroying human defense strongholds and triggering the demonic cave to erupt into a demonic tide, creating killings and chaos. The other was to strangle human geniuses or lead them to fall and join the Holy Ghost cult. Zhao Xun was one of their targets, and Lu Hanjia was originally as well, and as long as they became dependent on the demon spirit potion, they would basically end up becoming a part of it. However, an accident happened that exposed Zhao Yongcheng. Lu Hanya was rescued, and in the end, they only got their hands on one Zhao Xun. The Holy Spirit cult is divided into 2 parts, the White Spirit Hall and the Black Spirit Hall. The dragon envoys, or men, are the white spirits, and the dragon spirits, or women, are the black spirits. This had to do with their unique way of cultivation. After Zhao Xun was rescued, he hid in the White Spirit Hall's branch rudder in Linyang City to cultivate. When he learned that Lu Xun had returned to Linyang City, he instantly stood up in a violent rage and wanted to go out to take revenge. In his consciousness, because of Lu Xun, he had let his father die a horrible death, and was considered to have killed his father, and at the same time, because he had been captured, causing Lu Hanjiao to break the contract with himself, he had also put this hatred on Lu Xun's head, which was the hatred of taking away his wife. With both major hatreds on Lu Xun, how could he still be able to settle down when he heard the news about Lu Xun? His actions caused Yu Dong, the helmsman at the side, to chide him. Sit down. You want to take revenge? The news tells us that Lu Xun and the others have risen to the 5th rank, and you're only at the upper 3rd rank now, so what are you going to do to take revenge? Regarding Lu Xun and the few of them, the Holy Sect has other arrangements. What you need to do now is to continue to raise your strength. Zhao Xun gritted his teeth and gasped for air. The knuckles of his fists were pinched and turned blue, but he did not snap in the end. This was because Yu Dong had enough intimidation over him. It was a very maniacal and powerful existence, not something he could contradict. Seeing that Zhaozhen was tamed, Yudong nodded his head in satisfaction before commanding, "Keep an eye on them first. Now that Lingyang City has just gone through a sweep, there is a shortage of manpower. Pay attention to concealment. Send the news back to the main hall and listen to the hall master's arrangements." Lu Xun was a rare SSS grade talent Imperial Dragon Envoy, a genius of this level. The first thing to do was to try to tempt the fallen, and then exterminate them if they failed. Now that Linyang City had just gone through turmoil, his men were understaffed and he couldn't act rashly to avoid causing more losses. 2 days later, Lu Xun's 5 men traveled to the northern war zone. Out of their protection, they were still allowed to follow the troops, and arrived at the main city of the northern war zone, Danjiang City, before they were allowed to move freely. And not long after their departure, Yudong's side received instructions telling them that regarding Lu Xun's matter, for the time being, they didn't need to be involved and it would be handled by the people at the Danjiang City branch rudder. Danjiang City was established relatively close to the northern Great Wall, and at this time of the year, it was the time when it was freezing cold. The 5 people who got off the airplane were feeling the cold wind that greeted them, but fortunately, they were all warriors of the 4th rank or above. Their physical qualities were hard enough, and they also had spiritual energy to protect their bodies, so they could resist it. Their destination was not in Danjiang City, but in Ice City, which was not far away next to the Blue Ice River. Ice City wasn't a key city, there wasn't any academy inside, and there weren't even many ordinary residents. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a real city with no official administrators. The people gathered here were basically members of the Demon Hunting Troop, and many of the Demon Hunting Troop in the Northern Battle Region were based here, relying on the Blue Ice River's missions to continuously gain points. Several powerful Demon Hunting Troop formed the Ice City Demon Hunting Council to manage the people inside. It was just management, and couldn't do things like levying taxes. But all in all, this place was a loose zone with weak controls, and could be called a puddle of law and order. There were a total of 3 places like this in the Blue Ice River water system range, and Lu Xun chose this one for the simple reason that, according to the information, the girl with the divine dragon bloodline was here. With a hand ring to locate the place, Lu Xun and the others didn't need a guide, and they directly set off from Danjiang City and flew to Ice City. There were no accidents on the road, and they smoothly arrived at Ice City 2 hours later. When they arrived here, it was already late in the day, so they casually chose a hotel and dealt with it for one night first, and it was more appropriate to rent a house for a long-term battle. The next morning, Lu Xun led the 4 girls to start looking for the girl with the divine dragon bloodline. This girl's name was Qi Ran, a nurse, 20 years old this year, which meant that she had been awakened for more than 2 years. She had a brother named Jiyu who was 2 years older than her and depended on her. Jiyu was a member of the snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting troop, with a strength of 4th order intermediate and a B-rank talent. This talent is considered good, most of them are just below D grade. C grade talent is considered the regular talent of the Royal Dragon Army warriors and the average talent of many members of the demon hunting troop. B grade talent is considered good. But Jiran has no family, just personal growth. In order to give his sister better conditions, he chose to join the family, contracted the deputy leader of the snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting regiment, the 7th-ranked golden demon hunting warrior, Midoflag, who only has C-rank talent. But the result is that Jiran only awakened the F-class dragon spirit, Pu Zhao, not only did not meet Jiyu's expectations, but even fell to the bottom. However, Jiyu was still very caring towards Jiran. But Jiran herself was too much in her heart, so she worked hard to learn about medicine and nursing, hoping to help Chiyu a little, usually showing a big grin, but inwardly she was very soft. She tries not to cause trouble for her brother. Yesterday, Jiyu and people went out to hunt magic monsters. As a result, Jiyu was seriously injured, unconscious until now, has not woken up. This morning, Midoki brought her younger sister, Milingi, to the residence of the 2 Chiyu, checked Chiyu's injuries, and spoke. Your brother is like this. It looks like unless a dragon spirit with healing ability above the 8th rank makes a move, he won't be able to live for long. I won't make things difficult for you. This is 20,000. You guys take the money and leave. Spirit Wings, you go and break the contract with him. Shiran's face changed drastically at the words, stepping forward to block Milingi, pleading. No, the contract cannot be broken. Undoing the contract will cause both of them to suffer a great deal of vitality. My brother can't withstand this kind of damage right now. Milingi coldly laughed as he pushed him away. If he dies and the traces of the contract disappear, it will take at least half a year. Delaying my cultivation time for half a year is not worth taking your life. No, it can't be. Shiran's face showed a look of pain. She tried to block it, but she was grabbed by the demon hunters, and could only watch as the contract was forcibly lifted. Right away, the unconscious Jiyu bled from 7 holes and his face became whiter. Midoki assisted Milingi, who had also become weak, then glanced at Jiyu and said to the 2 people next to him, don't let anyone die here, help her carry his brother out. Saying help carry him out actually meant throwing him out. In this place of Ice City, they are accustomed to lawlessness. Dying a few people is nothing at all, and it is not their hands. Even if they did, as long as no one reported it to the police, no one would care. Everything that happens here is not reported by the people and not investigated by the officials. After all, it is a piece of puddle. Ji-ran watched her brother being thrown onto the icy streets. She held the $20,000, at this time she looked very helpless. But she was just an ordinary person, and could only go and accept this unfair fate. Gritting her teeth and putting the money into her bosom, she forcefully carried Ji-yu onto her back. It was imperative to find a warm place first. The environment of 14 degrees below zero, she an ordinary person can't stand it. At this time the dying Ji-yu can't stand it even more. Just walked out 10 meters, but saw a person stopping in front of him. "You're Chi-ran, right?" Lu-jin looked at this girl who looked round and plump and asked. Chi-ran nodded her head and said quickly, "I am. What do you have to say quickly? I need to find a place to get warm as soon as possible." Her footsteps don't stop as she speaks. Lu-jin follows her and sees that the person behind her is already dying, and opens her mouth. "Follow me, there is an inn nearby, but he should need treatment now." Ji-ran suddenly blurted out. "I know, but he needs an 8th-ranked healing dragon spirit for treatment. What can I do?" Her emotions were a bit out of control, but there was nothing she could do other than this. It was this feeling of powerlessness that left her breathless. Lu-jin was also silent for a while. 8th-order healing dragon spirits were indeed very rare. At least, Lu-jin didn't know of a single one at the moment. He might be able to find one by contacting Xia Qinjun or Su Dingyuan, but this person obviously wouldn't last that long. He suddenly thought of a method and said to Chi-ran, "Come with me, I have an idea that might be able to hang on to his life." Chi-ran froze for a moment at his words, but finally followed Lu-jin to a deserted place outside the city. At this point, she had no choice. Even if she brought Chi-yu to a warm inn, it would only allow him to live for a moment longer, and the end result would be that she would watch Chi-yu die with her own eyes. Lu-jin gave her a glimmer of hope. Even if it was only a glimmer, she had to hold on to it. When they arrived in no man's land, Lu-jin first turned into his dragon man form, dug a pit in the ground, and covered it with ice to form an ice pit. Then he said to Chi-ran, "Take off his jacket and put it into the pit." Since Chi-ran's only hope now rested on Lu-jin, she complied despite this outrageous request. This person seemed so powerful that there was no reason to tease her as an ordinary person. Lu-jin, on the other hand, summoned the dragon gate and penetrated it once again, transforming into his true dragon form. He placed one of his arms on the ice pit and made a cut, followed by a stream of reddish golden blood that flowed out, soaking Chi-yu's entire body. After the blood filled the ice pit, Lu-jin resumed his human form. The Song Xiao several people who were watching this scene from the side were worried as they ran over, realizing that the wound on Lu-jin's arm after he regained his human form was very small, and after a simple bandage, he would be fine. Chi-ran's attention had been focused on the ice pit. The blood inside the pit was boiling, drying up at an extremely fast speed, and in the end, it unexpectedly all evaporated into thin air. Looking at the Chi-yu inside, his face was flushed and his breath was long. Obviously he was out of the state of near death. Seeing this, Lu-jin let out a sigh of relief. This blood is finally not in vain. Legend had it that dragon blood had the effect of bringing the dead back to life. Although he was not a legendary divine dragon, he still had the body of a true dragon. Even though he was only of the 5th rank, his battle power had already reached the 8th rank, so theoretically inferring that the effect of his own blood should be a great tonic for other people of low bloodline ranks. Now it really seemed to be the case. This person's breath had stabilized, and the broken organs and tissues in his body had recovered, so it shouldn't take long for him to wake up. Ji-ran apparently also realized that her brother had come back to life and instantly cried tears of joy. She puts Ji-yu's jacket on, then turns her head to look at Lu-jin and says seriously, "Whatever you want me to do, I can promise you." Ruan Qinghan and the few people who heard this immediately looked at Lu-jin with a bit of a bad look in their eyes. If he said any rude request, he was only afraid that without waiting for Ji-ran to refuse, he would have to be beaten up by the 3 girls. Well, it is the 3, the aggravated little daughter-in-law Song Xiao, will only go to sulk by herself. Lu-jin hurriedly said with a straight face, "I want you to be my contracted dragon spirit." Chi-ran froze for a moment, glanced at the 4 women behind Lu-jin, and asked doubtfully, "You haven't contracted with anyone yet?" "I'm only an F-rank talent, so if you contract with me, it will drag you down." Lu-jin laughed. "They have all already contracted with me. I can contract many people. I came here specifically to find you, because you are not an ordinary F-rank talent, but a divine dragon bloodline possessor. It's just that at this time, your bloodline hasn't really awakened yet. If you contract with me, you will be able to awaken your SSS-ranked bloodline talent for the 2nd time, just like them." Chi-ran sniffed and confirmed excitedly, I can really become an SSS-ranked dragon spirit?" "Yes, as long as you contract with me. However, I already have 4 contracted dragon spirits. Are you willing to become the 5th? Lu-jin asked, slightly embarrassed. How did saying this out loud give him a sense of shame and saying, "I already have a wife. Are you willing to be my wife?" "I, Lu-jin, am a dedicated man. It's all about talent needs. Well, in order to recast the glory of the Dragon of the East, I'm willing. Chi-Ran didn't hesitate and directly agreed. Lucian had appeared when she was at her most desperate. Not only had he saved her brother's life, but now he had also given her the chance to regain her life. She had no reason to refuse. This was the chance to master power. This was the chance to break free from the shackles of fate. How could she give it up? At this time, a voice came, followed by a figure blocking in front of Chi-Ran. Who are you and what are you going to do to my sister? Ji-Yu had just regained his consciousness, and as a result, he heard Ji-Ran say the words I do, and thought that Lucian was bullying Ji-Ran into doing something, so he instinctively stood in front of Ji-Ran, blocking between her and Lucian. When Ji-Ran heard this, he hurriedly pulled Ji-Yu and said, Brother, he saved you just now, and now he just wants to contract with me. He didn't do anything to me. Ji-Yu froze at his words. Only then did he realize that his body, which had obviously been seriously injured, had completely recovered at this time, and moreover, there was a sense of power that he had never felt before. Learning what happened, Ji-Yu showed an embarrassed face, then hurriedly said to Lucian, I'm sorry, thank you for saving me. Then all the more reason I can't be beneficent. With an ability like yours, you must be at least A-ranked or above. My sister only has F-ranked talent, and by contracting with you, I'm doing you a disservice. His face was sincere. It could be seen that this thick-browed, big-eyed northern man was indeed an honest man. Ji-Ran sniffed and wiped Ji-Yu, shyly saying, You can really be my own brother. My sister has a better place to go, and you're still stopping it. Lucian, several people were laughing out loud. Brother Chi, you woke up late and didn't listen to the whole thing. In fact, I specifically flew over here from the Central War Zone to look for your sister. I learned from analyzing the information that I confirmed that your sister possesses a divine dragon bloodline, and I'm the dragon spirit that can help her awaken and make her an SSS-ranked talent. I'm an SSS-ranked dual talent, so the two of us, we're a good fit. Hearing Lucian say this, Chi-Yu suddenly realized. He said how his sister knew such a powerful person. It turned out to be someone who came to her door. This is really great. I knew that my sister's talent wouldn't be bad. Then you guys go ahead and contract it. An SSS-class dragon spirit. The future is unlimited. Ji-Yu said happily. Chi-Ran rolled his eyes at his words. Just now he had said that he was just a trashy F-rank talent, and now he was saying that his talent wouldn't be bad. I didn't realize that this thick-browed, big-eyed brother of his had two more faces. This is sending his sister out the door? Of course, Chi-Ran knew that Chi-Yu was truly happy for her. They had been orphaned at a young age and depended on each other, and knew very well what it was like to not have a strong strength to rely on. And now, as long as she contracted with Lucian, she could obtain the qualification of having strong strength, and also immediately have a powerful backer. It was a good thing to kill two birds with one stone. Suddenly, Chi-Yu's face changed and she said in a deep voice, Did Spirit Wing break the contract with me? The smile on Chi-Ran's face tightened at his words, and he replaced it with a look of gritted teeth and said, I've tried my best to stop it, but I couldn't. That woman brought the Midgard banner over with her and forcibly broke the contract with you. They were afraid that you would die in the camp and threw you out on the street. Brother, I'm sorry. You've protected me for so long, and I didn't even manage to protect you once. By the end of her words, she was in tears and her tone was full of self-reproach. Ji-Yu gasped for air and said in a deep voice, I didn't expect that after fighting together so many times, and this time it was also for her to block an attack before I was seriously injured, that she would be so heartless. It's good to break it off. You have a better home now, and there's no need for brother to be oppressed by the Mi family. He was just honest, not stupid. During this period of time in the snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting corps, he was a royal dragon envoy, yet he was the first to protect Milingi, who was a dragon spirit, every time, just so that he could exchange it for some good things to use for his sister. But for all his dedication, there was almost no return. The Mi family siblings treated him like livestock. But in order to still be able to rely on the snow-drinking berserker dragon hunt, in order to be able to give his sister something to rely on, he continued to endure. He endured until he died. Now, it was good to live again and lift the shackles. Lucian smiled as he sort of understood the general story and laughed. Yes, this is a good thing. A royal dragon envoy who can't get along with the contracted dragon spirit sincerely, then sooner or later, tragedy will occur. At the very least, now that it's broken, you can have a new choice again. As he spoke, Lucian handed up a tissue to Chi-Ran, causing Chi-Ran's heart to warm. Growing up, there had never been a man who had handed her a tissue once when she was crying. She had cried alone until her tears flowed. Xia Lingchan had already arrived next to Ji-Ran, and as a big sister, she gently held Ji-Ran in her arms and comforted her. With us together in the future, no one can bully you. Chi-Ran broke into a smile. At this moment, she felt very happy. A person who had long lacked love and security, today, both had reached an unprecedented peak. Ji-Yu revealed a smile and said, Let's go, let's hurry up and go to the contract. I'm eager to see Ran-Rant's awakening to an SSS-class dragon spirit. There was no way to complete the contract here in Ice City, so they still had to return to Danjiang City. Since Qi Ran was still an ordinary person at this point, she couldn't withstand the icy cold that came from flying at high altitude, so they could only rent a car and head to Danjiang City. Halfway there was an accident. Two cars came after them from the side and back, and then one after the other. Lu Xun's car was stuck in the middle of the road. Lu Xun could actually just let Ji Yu drive around them, but it was clear that these people were coming from a bad place, and if they couldn't handle it, they might have to destroy the car next. By then, it would be troublesome. Therefore, Lu Xun opened his mouth. Stop the car. Xiao, Zitong, you two wait in the car. Xinghan, Lingchan, you two go out with me. Seeing that Ji Yu was also going out, Lu Xun stopped him and said, you're ready to drive at any time. I don't need you to fight, you're too weak. At this time, it wasn't a time to care about emotions, so Lu Xun spoke more directly. Ji Yu sniffed and didn't make another move. Seeing their car stopped, the other two cars also followed to stop. 8 people came down from the car, all of them were women. One of the women, wearing a red leather jacket that was the color of blood, her nails and lips were purple, her face carried a sense of delicacy, but between her eyebrows, she looked ruthless. She looked at Lu Xun, licked her lips and laughed. You are Lu Xun? Not bad. Inside you, there is a wave of something that makes me crave. That must be delicious. Lu Xun was stunned at his words. Only a demonic monster would salivate over his true dragon bloodline, which the dragon spirit could not perceive. This woman, however, could sense it. Judging from her scent, she should only be at the 7th or 8th rank, and it was unlikely that she was one of the legendary demonic monsters that could take human form. Then, what were the identities of these people? Suddenly, Lu Xun remembered that in the information given to him by Xia Qianjun, it was mentioned that amongst the Holy Spirit sect, the Black Spirit Hall, also known as the Dragon Maidens, raised their strength by fusing with demonic monsters, and that they might possess the perception of demonic monsters. You guys are from the Holy Spirit sect? Purposely coming to find me? Chasing me from the central war zone to the northern war zone? It seems that you take me seriously? Lu Xun said with a smile. Ji Ziyue giggled at his words. Of course you're important. How could a brother who is so strong and can make his sister evolve to SSS level not be important? Since you know our identity, then go with your sister. These sisters are all good seedlings too. You can take them away together. Oh. Before Lu Xun could reply, Ruan Qinghan could no longer hold back. She had already been a soldier for 3 years, and she did not say she hated the Holy Spirit sect to the bone, but she was still trying to get rid of the evil. Drinking directly. Demonis. Suffer death. Before the words fell, she transformed into Jair, who had a dragon's head but had a body like a jackal, and she was already a behemoth with a body length of 6 zhang at the bottom of the 5th rank, and once the evil suppressing talent was opened, Ji Ziyue and the others didn't change their faces. Ji Ziyue had an understanding of Lu Xun's people, knowing that they had already stepped into the 5th rank, and could be said to be supreme geniuses. After all, it had only been less than a year since their awakening. However, she did not know much about their true battle power. The Holy Spirit sect had been wanting to make a move on a few people in the past few days. After all, this kind of human genius, whether it was recruiting or eliminating, had to be done as soon as possible. However, they hadn't made a move. The reason was simple, they were observing the experts protecting the few people. To be reasonable, wouldn't such a genius be worthy of sending an 8th-ranked expert to protect them? However, after these days of observation, it was found that there did seem to be no one to protect them. Therefore, they still made their move and chose this moment. At this moment, Ji Ziyue suddenly understood why the Yanxia Federation did not send an expert to protect these people. The aura released by this Ruan Qinghan was surprisingly comparable to that of an 8th-order demonic monster. Based on the known information analyzed, other than the subsequent addition of Su Zitong, the strength of Ruan Qinghan, Song Xiao, and Xia Lingchan should be comparable. Wouldn't it mean that these few people all had 8th-order combat strength? It was no wonder the Federation didn't send anyone to protect them. The experts of the 9th rank and above all had difficult tasks, and there was no way they could personally protect a few geniuses who hadn't grown up yet. And the 8th rank's level of protection clearly belonged to the drawing board. They themselves had the battle power of the 8th rank. Ruan Qinghan incarnated as Jarius, with his evil suppressing golden light protecting his body, and directly flew towards Ji Ziyue on a cloud of qi. Ji Ziyu could only transform into a dragon spirit to deal with it as well. In a burst of black gas, a hideous and terrifying monster emerged. It had a height of 10 feet, and at first glance, it looked like a dinosaur with 3 heads, with a pair of wings sprouting out from its back, while the 3 heads, however, were all like wolf heads. Its body was covered with a layer of purple-black cuticle that looked like rock. The thick hind legs, the relatively short but sharp-clawed front legs, all of them showed how powerful it was. What made Lu Xun care the most was that the other party had fused a large amount of demonic qi in its body, and when it was shown at this time, it was forming a layer of black armor that wrapped around some vital parts such as the head. Was this the dragon spirit that had fused the demonic monsters? Gzu's dragon spirit form, dark three-headed dragon wolf, the aura it displayed, had reached the level of an 8th-ranked upper-level demonic monster. However, its spirit energy level should only be at the lower 8th rank. Sensing such a powerful opponent, Ruan Qinghan's charging stance didn't pause, going forward and being courageous. This was her belief. The sharp claws attached with the evil suppressing golden light and the wolf's head shrouded in darkness collided. To be precise, it was Jarius's claws that attacked on the teeth of the dark triple-headed dragon wolf. For an instant, the two figures seemed to pause before they were knocked back together by the force of the recoil, and it could be seen that it was Gzu, who was of the 8th rank, who retreated first, and not Ruan Qinghan, who was only of the lower 5th rank. Gzu's desire for Luzhin was even stronger in her heart. She was only an A-rank talent, but Ruan Qinghan had an SSS-rank talent, and she attributed all the reasons why the other party was so powerful to its powerful talent. And as long as Luzhin was captured, then it was possible for herself to evolve into an SSS-class dragon spirit. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but become even more frantic as the demonic aura on her body steeply shook and a blood aura rose up. This was the blood burning technique, which drastically increased her battle aura in a short period of time, and in a moment, her battle power soared to the lower 9th rank. While Gzu and Ruan Qinghan were exchanging blows, several of her henchmen also transformed into their dragon spirit forms and attacked Luzhin's men. They weren't very strong, with 2 of them at the 6th rank and the rest at the 5th rank. Although Luzhin and the few of them topped out at the upper 5th rank, but, being of the same 5th rank, their strength was not the same. Xia Lingchan transformed into the prisoner bull form of the bullhorn dragon body, releasing a soundwave attack. Surprisingly, she was able to directly kill 2 of them, and the remaining few, they were all injured and retreated. She probably didn't expect that the attack she was casually releasing right now would directly kill people. Luzhin watched her deal with those few Gzu's subordinates, so he didn't pay attention to them. He was most aware of the strength of a few girls. After all, they were pillows. With Xia Lingchan's strength, it was easy to clean up those few small fishes, even if they were all strengthened by demonic chi. The true dragon bloodline was specialized in killing all evil spirits. Luzhin's gaze was always on Ruan Qinghan and Gzu, who were battling in the sky above. After seeing the change in the aura on Gzu's body, he decisively summoned the dragon gate, and then passed through it, abruptly transforming into a 5-clawed golden dragon that was 13 feet long. And at this moment, the aura on his body had clearly reached the level of a 9th-rank lower-level demonic monster as well. The strong dragon's might in conjunction with the evil suppressing golden light was released from Luzhin's body, causing Gzu, who was about to attack Ruan Qinghan, to tremble in her heart, a fear that originated from the depths of her bloodline. Luzhin, on the other hand, rushed up towards her without pause. He couldn't just sit back and watch Ruan Qinghan get hurt. With the thunder force, his speed was extremely fast, and with a flash, he reached the dark 3-headed dragon wolf, biting down on one of the latter's necks. With the power of thunder and the Jin evil golden light infused, the powerful physical strength of the true dragon exploded, and this time, he actually directly bit off one of Gzu's necks, and then rigidly withdrew it from her flesh and blood. Gzu's remaining 2 heads let out a wail of pain. At this moment, her inner desire for Luzhin disappeared into thin air, and what filled her mind was only deep fear. Gzu didn't hesitate. Losing one of her heads, she just hurriedly blocked her wounds with her demonic chi, while releasing a large area of demonic chi mist, and then she fled at a rapid speed. Those henchmen, she didn't even glance at them and quickly disappeared into the distant sky. Luzhin could ignore the disorienting and obscuring effects of the mists through his true dragon's vision, talent, but Gzu's speed that erupted reached the upper 9th rank level for a moment. She must have used some special method again. But the result was that Luzhin couldn't catch up with her. After all, today's Luzhin was only at the upper 5th rank, and was able to cross the 4th rank and directly explode into the 9th rank of battle power thanks to several bloodline increases. The body of a true dragon was that strong, but he was still too low in rank. Well, that was the need to continue contracting new dragon spirits. He wanted a faster cultivation speed, he wanted more bloodline increases, and he wanted a stronger ability to fight over levels. Luzhin transformed into his human form, turned around, and saw several corpses lying on the ground, the henchmen of the woman from earlier. At this time, his communication bracelet suddenly vibrated. After tapping it, a face full of anxiety appeared. Xia Qianjun asked urgently, "Luzhin, how are you guys doing? Is Lingchan still safe? I've already contacted the town guards of Danjiang City for you, and there's about 3 minutes left for that side to arrive at your place." Just now, when he got off the bus, Luzhin took a picture of Gzu and uploaded it to Xia Qianjun in the first place, just in case something unexpected happened. At this moment, Luzhin said with a smile, "It's fine, just let her escape." Xia Qianjun over there breathed a sigh of relief and said, "You run out on it." Alas? Wait, who did you say ran away? After Luzhin uploaded the photo, Xia Qianjun searched for information about Gzu in the first place. This fellow was one of the key wanted fugitives in the Federation, an 8th order lower A-grade gifted dragon spirit, whose usual battle power could rival that of an 8th order upper level demonic monster, and whose demonic chi erupted to bring out the battle power of a 9th order lower level. With such a powerful enemy appearing beside his granddaughter and in front of a group of several of the Federation's most talented people, he was of course extremely anxious, so he urgently notified the town guard of Danjiang City. The town guard of Danjiang City, that is, the town guard of the northern war zone, Zhangjinghua, immediately arranged for his own daughter-in-law, the 9th-ranked dragon spirit Hu Hui, to head here to rescue her. This was the closest person dispatched after synthesizing the distance at the time. Hu Hui was on her way to the northern Great Wall on land at that time, and when she received the notice urgently, she came all the way here in a dusty manner. But at this point, according to the positioning, it would take 3 minutes at the earliest to arrive. Xia Qianjun was worried about danger, so he called Lu Jun with a communication video, and as a result, what did he hear? That Ji Ziyue, who had a 9th order battle power, had actually escaped? Lu Jun sighed and said. That Ji Ziyue ran away. She suddenly erupted with the speed of an upper 9th rank demonic monster. I couldn't catch up and let her escape. But she bit off one of her 3 heads for me, so I guess her vitality is greatly injured and she won't be able to do much in a short period of time. Xia Qianjun had a confused look on his face. An 18-year-old student who had just graduated from the Advanced Academy 9 months ago, to say that he had bitten the dragon spirit, who was capable of utilizing the battle power of the lower 9th rank, and severely injured her, forcing the other party to have to burst out with the speed of the upper 9th rank to escape. This was simply heavenly. Xia Qianjun was also an SSS rank talent, and he remembered that he had only reached the 5th rank a year later, and besides, his 5th rank self couldn't fight against a 9th rank demonic monster, right? You've crossed 4 major ranks here, and you're still able to win in a complete victory? Moreover, you, a royal dragon envoy, even bit a dragon spirit. This matter, at first glance, sounded a bit ridiculous, and the more one thought about it, the more outrageous one felt. Grandpa Xia, all of that woman's men were killed by Sister Spirit Cindy. There shouldn't be any repercussions for these people to be killed, right? Lu Jun's side continued to ask. Hearing that his music-loving, gentle and soft granddaughter had actually killed several people, Xia Qianjun also froze for a moment. Although Xia Lingchan had already been killing for half a year at the East Sea border, there was still a difference between killing demonic monsters and killing people, and he didn't expect that Xia Lingchan would overcome the psychological barrier so easily and even kill several people directly. General Hu Hui will be coming to your place soon. These people are wanted criminals. Killing them is just killing them. Just let General Hu handle it, Xia Qianjun said. Immediately afterward, he once again confirmed that several people were safe before hanging up the call. This side had just ended the call when a huge black figure rapidly approached in the distance. It was a dark dragon, a pure dark dragon, an SSS-class dragon spirit. It came to a steep stop after arriving in the air above the several people, then transformed into a heroic middle-aged woman wearing black armor. Are you Lu Jun and Xia Lingchan and the others? Hu Hui opened her mouth and asked. After sensing the aura of a few people, she was basically determined the identity of Lu Jun's few people, only that she was a bit puzzled as to where that black spirit whose battle power could reach the 9th rank had gone. That was why she asked the question. She had rushed here in a hurry, not to stop that Ji Ziyue from harming Lu Jun and the others, so how come she hadn't seen that woman's figure? Lu Jun nodded his head and replied. I am Lu Jun, and this is Xia Lingchan. You are General Hu, right? That Ji Ziyue has already left. I bit off one of her heads and she escaped. What did you say? You, a 5th-ranked dragon imperial envoy, bit off the neck of an 8th-ranked dragon spirit and then got away by her? Hu Hui was stunned. Lu Jun coyly scratched his head and smiled. It's true that she ran away. I really couldn't catch up with her when she burst out her speed of the upper 9th rank. Well, you really shouldn't be able to catch up, Hu Hui subconsciously replied back, then reacted and continued. No, is that the point? The point is, how did you manage to utilize your Trans-4th Order battle power? Lu Jun murmured twice and suddenly turned his head to look at Xia Lingchan and the girls, saying, it's probably because I said I wanted to protect them, so I exploded with a very strong power. Song Xiao's ears reddened at his words, somewhat shy. Xia Lingchan lightly gathered her hair at his words and looked on with a smile. Su Zitong covered her mouth at his words and smiled, charmingly, while Ruan Qinghan rolled her eyes at his words and skimmed her lips. General Hu, this guy's talent is more than SSS grade. In short, it's perverted. Right now the upper 5th rank is able to exert the battle power of the lower 9th rank. Lu Jun covered his heart and said, Sister Qinghan, I was standing in front of you without hesitation just now. Why aren't you touched at all? Ruan Qinghan said solemnly, Royal dragon envoys and dragon spirits are meant to protect each other. You're stronger than me. It's only right that you protect me. If I were stronger than you, I wouldn't have hesitated to protect you either. Well, with this reason, there were really no words. Lu Jun looked at Hu Hui in a depressed manner and said, General Hu, how do we deal with these corpses for a bit? Hu Hui glanced at them casually and said, "I'll notify people to come and deal with them, let's go, I'll send you back to Danjiang City." No one saw that after Ruan Qinghan and Lu Jin finished that sentence, she turned around and the corners of her mouth were up, showing that she was very happy. How could she not be touched by a person who protects her without any hesitation? And Qi Ran, who was in the car, watched the behavior of several people and felt that the collective was very warm. She felt that she must have made the wisest decision of her life. With the escort of the 9th-ranked dragon spirit, the group arrived at Danjiang City very quickly this time, and it was directly to Sanglong Academy, one of the 4 major academies in the Federation. Sanlong Academy existed before the invasion of the demonic monsters, but no one could answer the question about the meaning of the name Sanlong at this time. They only knew about the dark demon dragon, the frost dragon, and didn't know what a Song dragon was. It was as if the history of the Eastern divine dragons had all been erased. The dean of the Sanlong Academy was named Li Jojo. He naturally knew Lu Jin's information, so when he learned that he was coming here to contract with a girl, he came over to personally lead the way, saying that he wanted to see what it was like to see the awakening of the SSS rank so-called divine dragon bloodline. Lu Jin and Qi Ran walked up to the contract stage, and it was obvious that she was a little nervous. Normally a big talker, at this time she was whispering, what if I don't have a divine dragon bloodline?" Lu Jin looked at her with a smile. Stretching out his hand, he grasped her 2 fleshy hands in his palms and said, "Trust me, there's no such thing as an eventuality. When I say you can, you can." Feeling the strength coming from Lu Jin's hands, Qi Ran gradually settled down. She looked into Lu Jin's eyes, and the 2 of them calmed down and activated the formation. Golden silk threads wrapped around, and the contract was successfully completed. In the next moment, the golden dragon gate appeared, and Qi Ran transformed into one of the divine dragon bloodlines, the Ji Pu Jiao, a dragon that was almost identical to a true dragon, almost the same as Lu Jin's true dragon's body, except for the scales that were green in color, and the body appeared to be a bit plump. She crossed the dragon gate. Pu Ran, Pu Jiao, SSS grade, rank, first order. Divine talent I, taking off clouds, can fly in the air and harness clouds and mist. Divine talent 2, woodborn, controls plants, guides vitality, allows plants to grow quickly, and has the ability to fight. Divine talent 3, spirit sacrifice, releasing divine energy to suppress evil spirits and heal wounds. Information on the divine talents unique to the divine dragon bloodline surfaced in Lu Jin's mind, and the dragon spirit that Qi Ran had transformed into had already undergone a huge change. Just now, she was obese in size, coiled together, and was only about 10 feet long, but now she had directly soared to nearly 10 meters long. The bloated body type didn't completely disappear, but it turned into a strong body. Covered by green-colored scales, she looked very domineering. With this appearance, she was transforming into the appearance of a green dragon. However, her bloodline at this time was still only one of the divine dragon bloodlines, Pu Jiao, not a true dragon. She was currently only at the first stage, and after some cultivation, she would definitely be even more domineering. What made Lu Jin feel the most surprised was her talent skills. Both talents could be used as attack abilities and as a means to heal injuries. The ability that the contracted dragon spirit possessed, Lu Jin could also possess the same, which was equivalent to already having 2 people who could perform healing in their team. Even though he had experimented out that his true dragon's blood almost had the effect of bringing the dead back to life when he had saved Jiyu earlier, that was for other people who were not of the divine dragon bloodline. And for the few dragon spirit maidens contracted with him, the effect would definitely not be that good. After all, they themselves possessed the true dragon bloodline, and Lu Jin's blood was not very specific to them. Now that he possessed the means of healing, he didn't worry about the well-being of a few people, and after they were injured, they were promptly treated. With her awakening complete, Qi Ran resumed her human form, then hugged Lu Jin. She was not of a coy nature, and this hug was purely out of intense gratitude. Thank you for giving me the greatest sunlight and warmth in my darkest and coldest moments." Lu Jin also hugged Qi Ran. Unlike a few other girls, Qi Ran gave him a fleshy touch. "With me, in the future you won't have dark and cold moments. I am your son, always by your side." Lu Jin patted her back, then took the initiative to push her away before pulling her hand and walking down the compact stage. It wasn't that he didn't like hugging, it was that he always felt that there were 4 cold gazes staring at him in death, and it was a bit cool. Knight Jojo smiled as he walked up and said, "Not bad, really evolved into a SSS class dragon spirit. You have brought 5 SSS class dragon spirits to the Yinxia Federation. In the past, it would be good if one could appear in a year, and it would even take several years before there would be one. Lu Jin, you are truly a treasure." Hearing this, Lu Jin immediately seized the opportunity and shook his head, looking at the few girls and saying, "I'm not a treasure, they're the treasure girls, and I'm just a person who unearths the treasure." Song Xiao smiled a silly smile at the words. Su Zitong and Xiao Lingchan were both wearing bright smiles, only Ruan Qinghan still, a look of turning a deaf ear. Qi Ran, on the other hand, said directly, "Without you, I should have despaired by now, thank you." This sister was also a truthful person who was always grateful. Li Jojo laughed. Ha ha, alright, but I heard General who say that Lucian, you already have the battle power of a 9th order lower level ordinary demon monster? Lucian shook his head and said, not really. Seeing that Li Jojo revealed a puzzled look, he laughed. Right now, it should be at the middle level of the 9th rank. With each divine dragon bloodline dragon spirit I contract, I will become stronger. He had already contracted 5 of them and fused 5 divine dragon bloodlines, and the true dragon bloodline in his body had reached a new stage. With the true dragon's body opened, it would not be a problem for him, who was at the upper 5th rank, to take on a 9th rank intermediate demonic monster. Li Jojo marveled. It seems that your second talent is really more than SSS rank. Now the Federation can't provide you with better protection. The only help that can be provided to you is information and resources. What do you need? Just open your mouth. For talents like you, the Federation will strongly support you. Lucian wasn't a person who was outgoing, so he said directly, I need a copy of the Dragon Awakening Potion. Of course, it would be better if there were more. This thing could directly raise the dragon spirit from the 3rd to the 4th rank, saving a lot of work and being useful. Lucian couldn't look at ordinary things, only such top-tier resources he could look at. Li Jojo nodded at his words and said, good, I'll go discuss with the town guards and see if I can spare a few bottles for you. Any other requests? Lucian saw such a generous person for the first time. The first time they met, they had to clunk a gift. It was a bit embarrassing. Well, a little embarrassed to refuse. I'll be polite then. Do you have any 10th order Yuan Dan? More is better. Hearing Lucian make such a lion's mouthful of offers, the smile on Li Jojo's face froze and he said, you kid really dare to ask for it, but this really should be there. The town guard seems to have just gotten one. I'll go ask for you. Lucian understood. I said this old gentleman how so generous, originally is all to let the town guard to come out, he this hand, 6 ah. Benefit is their own, no matter what, are subject to each other's favor, Lucian still said. Thank you Grandpa Knight, I will work hard to become stronger, and will not let the resources of the Federation go to waste. In fact, the 9th order Yuan Dan given by the Su family's old lady last time hadn't been consumed yet, but he wouldn't mind if there was something better. The fact that a few of them were highly talented meant that the energy they needed to consume to grow was even greater. If there was a 10th rank Yuan Dan to aid in cultivation, it would definitely be enough at least until they broke through to the 7th rank. Li Jojo smiled at his words. Good, you guys will stay in Danjiang City today, and then go to Ice City tomorrow to practice. Although you're not weak now, you still have to be careful, those rabble-rousers of the Holy Spirit sect will definitely not rest easy. I'll remember. Thank you, Grandpa Knight. Lucian was not ambiguous at all in this aspect of human affairs, calling a little bit more affectionately in order to make it easier to ask for favors, wasn't it? Several people stayed in the hotel arranged by Li Jojo. In fact, with Su Zitong this rich woman president in, they do not lack of money, but Lucian adhering to the idea of elders give, do not dare to resign, can save a little bit of their own save a little bit. Anyway, people do not lack of money, they save, are their own. That night, Lucian took the newcomer Chiran, a man and 5 women, and engaged in intense cultivation. Chiran was, after all, the first time. Lucian would still be a little softer, and wouldn't give her too much spiritual energy at once, otherwise she wouldn't be able to fit it in. Within the Waters A City, another extra magical city constructed by the Blue Ice River Water System's demon hunters, within a certain gloomy underground palace, Jizue, who had circled around for a good while before rushing back here in the evening, weakly recounted her experience to the woman in the black veil dress on the main seat. After she finished speaking, within the large hall where there were only 2 people, there was silence. Jizu knelt there, because of her weak body, cold sweat broke out on her forehead, but she didn't dare to wipe it off, and her body didn't dare to move, waiting for the black-skirted woman to speak. Finally, there was a sound in the silence of the palace. Are you saying that a 5th-ranked Imperial Dragon envoy defeated the Dragon Spirit, that is, you, who had erupted into a 9th-ranked lower-level battle power? Or did you only use one move to snap its neck with a single bite? The black-skirted woman's face had a scar that ran from her right eye to the left side of her face, and when she opened her mouth to speak, the scar twisted like a centipede, making her look extremely gruesome. Jizue replied in a trembling voice. His bloodline talent is very powerful, even though he is only at the upper 5th rank spirit energy level. After turning into that dragon spirit form that looks like a python with fish scales, the aura he displays is at the level of a lower 9th rank demonic monster. Moreover, the skills were very powerful, and the golden light and thunder power released had a strong suppressive effect on me. His power was also very strong, directly biting off my neck. I couldn't resist at all. My lord, my subordinate rushed back desperately, not for fear of death, but to report the true information about this person. My subordinate suspects that his talent is more than just SSS rank. This person cannot be recruited and needs to be killed as soon as possible, otherwise he is bound to become a great danger to the heart of my Holy Spirit sect. Jizue was actually defending herself because she really felt very stifled. She herself was an 8th-order dragon spirit, but she was almost bitten to death by a 5th-order dragon imperial envoy. Where could she justify this? But she decided that she couldn't admit that she was saying this because she was afraid of death, or else she really might be killed by this woman in the high position in front of her. The black-skirted woman, also known as Night Underworld Moon, was once again silent for a moment, and then faintly asked a question that almost scared Jiziyu to death. Are you teaching me things? Subordinate wouldn't dare. Jiziyu hurriedly replied with a cry before her brain knocked on the ground, spilling more blood. Night Underworld Moon slowly spoke. You go down and nurse your wounds, this person, I have my own arrangements. Jiziyu immediately answered and left. She was already very weak, after all, breaking a head was almost equal to losing a third of her life, and her spiritual energy had plummeted. After Jiziyu left, the corners of Night Underworld Moon's mouth revealed a smile as she muttered. Interesting. Looks like it's worth my personal effort. The next day, Lu Jin and a few girls followed the location given by Li Jojo and arrived in a compound. Li Jojo introduced Lu Jin and the others. This is Jinshou Zhang, specially here to meet you guys. Lu Jin immediately smiled at his words and said, many thanks to Lord Jinghua for his help yesterday. Zhang Jinghua opened his mouth and laughed. Ha ha, General who told me that by the time she arrived, things had already been resolved. You kid is very good, it's only been less than a year and you can have such battle power, you're bound to be even better in the future. I can give you anything you want, but you must protect yourself. By accepting these things, you have an additional responsibility. Lu Jin replied seriously. I always remember that all the peaceful life I enjoyed before was exchanged with the blood of the Federal Imperial Dragon Army warriors. As a powerfully gifted Imperial Dragon envoy, killing more and more powerful demonic monsters and defending the safety of the Yanxia Federation is my responsibility. This passage was something that junior colleges had to learn when they enrolled, and senior colleges had to learn it again, and the advanced academy would have to learn it again. Although this was a piece of platitude, when it came out of Lu Jin's mouth, it naturally had a natural conviction. It was because his talent was really powerful and strong enough. Good, with your words, I'm relieved. Keep up the good work, and if you have any difficulties, come find me. After saying that, Zhang Jinghua hurriedly left again. He had just come to meet a few people and still had a lot of things to take care of. He couldn't stay here all the time. Only when he left did Li Jojo take out 2 boxes, a square box and a long box. This is what you wanted, make good use of it. Li Jojo said. The square box opened, and inside was a 10th-ranked demonic monster Yuan Dan, while the long box contained 3 dragon awakening potion. Lu Jin put them into his spatial ring and laughed. Many thanks, Grandpa Li. Nodding his head, Li Jojo smiled and asked, what are your plans next? Are you still going to go to Ice City to continue your training there? Yes, currently, our main focus is still on cultivation, but battles can't be less, especially since Qi Ran has just awakened and needs battles to sharpen. We still plan to go back to Ice City there. The mission over at the Demon Hunting Corps will start tomorrow, so we need to go over there today and make arrangements. Lu Jin said. Li Jojo murmured twice and said, with your strength, the Federation can't protect you any better, but you still have to be careful. The helmsmen of the Holy Spirit Sect's 4 major branches are all 9th-ranked powerhouses with SS-ranked talents, and once they break out with their demonic aura, their battle power will be even stronger. When you encounter any uncontrollable danger, call for help at the first opportunity. This is a sign of responsibility to yourself and to your contracted dragon spirit. Ice City wasn't too far away from Danjiang City, and this time, if Lu Jinjin still needed to call for help, it would be when he encountered danger at the level of the 4 great helmsmen, and at that time, Zhang Jinghua would be the first to step in. Safety was also more guaranteed. If they were a little further away, Li Jojo wouldn't have agreed to them continuing their mission, going to the border. They could also train. However, he knew that it would not be appropriate for these geniuses to grow up in the midst of that kind of high-intensity battle environment at the border, as the battle emotions would be contagious and not conducive to the maintenance of a state of calmness and serenity during cultivation. With the treasures, the 8 people returned to the middle of Ice City. This time, there were no accidents on the way. They arrived at Ice City without any problems, then searched for half an hour and identified a compound to rent for the time being. Afterwards, following the prompted information on the quest, they arrived at the Ice City Ice Emperor Demon Hunting Regiment's compound. The name was overbearing, but in reality, this demon hunting troop was just a group with 8 members, with a maximum strength of only the 7th rank. A few people had just approached, when an arrogant voice reached the ears of a few people, causing both Qi Yu and Qi Ran to change their faces. Yang Chen, if you break the contract with that woman and then contract with my sister, I can give you a one-time payment of $1.5 million, so that you can have the money to rescue your old mom. Moreover, isn't it better to develop in our snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting regiment than in this little crappy demon hunting regiment? For the sake of a woman, are you going to give up your own old mom's life and give up your own bright future? Hearing this voice, Jiren clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Madoki, he's the one who made his sister forcibly dissolve the contract with my brother and kicked us out. Lu Xun, however, laughed. This guy seems to have long ago identified an underling for his sister, and your brother is someone he can discard at any time. Qiyu sulked and didn't say anything, while Qiran said angrily, he's just a jerk. Lu Xun laughed. Let's go, and see what's going on, maybe we can let you get out of your anger. He always remembered what his teacher had once taught him, that a good relationship between the Imperial Dragon Envoy and the Dragon Spirit was important, so he wouldn't miss any opportunity to increase his goodwill with the Dragon Spirit. Thank you all for your support. Subscription. Yang Chen clenched the hand of the woman beside him and said firmly, I won't break the contract with Muan, my mother, I will find a way to raise money for treatment myself, I don't need you to give me charity. As for your sister, it's me who doesn't deserve it, please leave. Otherwise, when our headmaster comes back, it won't be good to have any conflict. Madoki sneered. What can you do if your headmaster comes back? Could it be that he can still fight against our snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting regiment? This fellow clearly didn't have the backbone to fight against the head of the Ice Emperor demon hunting regiment, so he unconsciously moved the demon hunting regiment behind him as he spoke. Excuse me, is this the Ice Emperor demon hunting regiment's residence? Lu Xun asked. His voice suddenly appeared and directly drew the attention of both groups. Mito Flag froze for a moment after seeing Jiyu, then subconsciously said, You're surprisingly still alive? It's really a great life. Still unable to hold back his anger, Jiyu spoke out. I asked myself that when I was in the snow-drinking berserker dragon demon hunting regiment, I was also considered to be the first to fight, charging at the forefront time and time again. Why are you treating me like that? Mito Flag said in a cold voice. You are nothing but a dog that I raised. I also raised your sister, by the way. You couldn't continue to watch over the family, so of course I had to get rid of you. Now it looks like you have recovered. Now kneel before me and apologize. I can consider taking you in again. Otherwise, even if you recover, I can still make it impossible for you and your sister to mix in this blue ice river area. Jiyu sniffed and was so angry that his body trembled. Once again he couldn't say anything. What a bully to the honest people. You son of a bitch. She ran then cursed furiously. Madoki's eyes narrowed, then steeply rushed over. Stinking woman. Dare to scold me. Seek death. An icy blue spear appeared in his hand. This was his Royal Dragon Envoy talent, weapon-type talent, Icy Cold Spear. Mito Flag had the strength of a 7th-ranked intermediate, and his talent level was only B-ranked, so at full strength, he only had the same combat power as a 7th-ranked demonic monster. But even so, it wasn't something that Ran, who had just awakened the Dragon Spirit talent, could contend with. A huge pressure came over him, causing a trace of panic to arise in Ran's eyes. At this time, it was a sudden realization that he was blocked by a tall figure in front of him. Dare to touch my woman, it's you who deserve to die, Lu Xun said indifferently. His voice was not loud, but it was as clear as if it was hitting everyone's heart. At this moment, Lu Xun didn't turn into a half-dragon human or a true dragon state, he just let the profound dragon armor attach to his palm, and then held the ice blue spear with one hand. After 5 bloodline evolutions, at this point in time, under the state of his true dragon body, he could fight against intermediate-level demons of the 9th order. Under the state of a dragon man, he could win completely under the 9th order, and without dragonization and only using his own body to fight demons below the 8th order, he could also directly take them down. What's more, at this time, he was also wearing the abyssal dragon armor, which not only increased his defense, but also increased his spiritual energy, allowing him to once again increase his battle power. After holding the ice-cold spear with one hand, the power of thunder erupted and he pinched it with force. The spear was like ice, shattered inch by inch. This was equivalent to directly destroying Mito Flag's natural skill, causing him to suffer a great backlash and directly spit out a mouthful of blood. And Lu Xun didn't let it pass. With a flash, he came to Mito Flag's side, pressed his right hand on his head, and then slammed it hard into the ground. The huge inertia caused Madoki's body to make a 180-degree turn, his feet facing upwards and his head facing downwards, hitting the ground hard, his head smashing a crater in the frozen solid ground, and a large amount of blood flowing out of his 7 orifices. This had left his internal organs severely injured, and maybe even his brain was already delirious. Madoki's entire body shrank on the ground, twitching. But Lu Xun didn't let go yet, and directly went up and stepped on his neck. The sound of bones breaking was clearly visible, and there were even bones coming out of it. The person was dead, not cold for a while. This was the first time Lu Xun had killed someone when he came to this world, and of course, it was the first time he had killed someone in both of his lifetimes combined. But he didn't hesitate. The supremacy of personal force in this world meant that one faced killing at any time, and he had suffered assassinations and sneak attacks, so for any threat, wiping it out in advance was the wisest choice. Since Mito Flag chose to do it, it meant that he was ready to be killed. If he didn't do it well, he had already been killed. And the crowd who saw the scene did not change their faces, especially the crowd of the snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting regiment. One of the mid-dock flag's lapdogs trembled and said, You even killed our vice leader, you will suffer the pursuit of our entire demon hunting regiment? Lucian raised an eyebrow at his words, so this means that I should kill your entire demon hunting regiment to prevent future troubles? There's no need to chase and kill, I've been living here lately, go back and call the people, it's best to call them all, a family needs to be neat and tidy. Lucian said with a cold smile, that looked like an arrogant villain. Behind him is the Northern Warzone Guard, who else has his background hard, out to mix, to have strength, to have background, he has all, can not be arrogant? Chi-Ran looked at this picture, felt surrounded by a great sense of security. In addition to her brother, Lucian is the only boy in her memory to protect her, and also, under that kind of attack that brought her deep fear, blocked in front of her. She was even more determined at this moment to follow Lucian all the way. Moreover, she had to become strong quickly. Because she didn't want to be protected by Lucian forever, she wanted to be able to fight side by side with Lucian. Hearing Lucian's words, those people fled in a panic, and there wasn't even anyone to collect Madoki's body, which showed that this guy wasn't usually well liked among the demon hunters, and they didn't treat him well. Mito Flag's sister did not follow, otherwise it can be solved together. Killed Mito Flag, his family, is the enemy, chopping grass is to get rid of the root, anyway, there is background bottom, he is not afraid to cause any bad influence. What happened? A cool middle-aged woman's voice came out, followed by a blue-haired woman wearing silver armor with a lingering charm appearing in front of several people. She was accompanied by a man, who should be her Imperial Dragon envoy. Seeing this woman, Yang Chen reacted and stepped forward. Headmaster. It's like this Midgard flag came to the door to provoke, and then later took a shot at these few people before they were killed. Although it was said very simply, that was probably how things went through. Mu Bing frowned at his words and spoke. Sir, no matter why you killed him, the snow-drinking berserker dragon demon hunters will not let you off easily, you'd better leave as soon as possible. Lucian smiled disbelievingly at his words and said, I'll just wait here for them to come over, better yet, all of them. Hearing Lucian say this, Mu Bing once again sensed his strength, but was surprised. You're only at the upper 5th rank, but you actually killed the mid-7th rank mitochondrial flag. Could it be that Mr. is the son of some great family? Lucian said with both hands. I am an orphan. But then he took 2 steps back and wrapped his arms around Xia Lingchan and Su Zitong's shoulders on the left and right and laughed. But my 2 good sisters are from big families, I'm the equivalent of a flunky. This time, Xia Lingchan as well as Su Zitong both rolled their eyes along with Ruan Qinghan, quite speechless at his quirky behavior. Whose family's superfluous son-in-law could still be 2 families together. Moreover, you brought along 3 other women. Only Song Xiao, this naive batchgirl, was still smilingly watching this scene. Mu Bing and the others were also silent for a while when they heard this. This amount of information was a bit too much and also a bit shocking to their 3 views. Lucian then continued. Head Mu Bing, formal introduction, I am Lucian, the head of the Divine Dragon Pavilion's Demon Hunting Regiment, come to work with you to complete the stationing mission. The mission requirements will start tomorrow. If it is convenient, let's discuss the arrangement of the stationing rotation afterward, how about it? Mu Bing suddenly realized, she had wondered how these few people would appear here. It turned out that they had come to do the mission together with herself. Let's put the matter of the mission aside for now, if this matter is not handled well, there is no way for you to carry out your stationing tomorrow. After learning the purpose of Lucian's few people coming here, Mu Bing added this. Lucian also understood that the other party wouldn't really feel at ease until the matter was resolved clearly. He whirled around and remembered something, looking at Yang Chen and asking, Do you need a large sum of money to save your mother? Yang Chen froze for a moment at his words, then nodded with a bitter face and said, My mother was injured by a plant-based demonic monster when she fought early on, and it turned out that it left a seed in my mother's body, and now that demonic seed has grown up in my mother's body, causing her a lot of pain. I found a doctor who has a 6th-ranked healing dragon spirit, and the price there is $2 million federal dollars. I can only come up with $500,000 right now. Mu Bing opened his mouth. When we hunt and kill some demonic creatures to sell, we'll probably be able to scrape it together in another month. It seemed that there was a good relationship with each other in this demon hunting group, and everyone was helping Yang Chen to gather money together. Hearing Yang Chen talk about plant-based demonic monsters, Lucian's mind moved, but he had just obtained the wood-born talent skill from Chi-Ran. If a 6th-ranked dragon spirit could take care of things, there was no reason why he couldn't. Although he was only an upper 5th rank, he was a true dragon bloodline, and if an ordinary dragon spirit of the 6th rank in the district could do it, he believed that he could do it as well. So he opened his mouth and said, I might have a way to help you. Is your mother over here? Yang Chen's body shook at the words and said in surprise, right inside the compound. Lucian then let him lead to the house and met his mother. He only saw a middle-aged woman who looked to be in her 40s lying on the bed, her eyes were tightly closed, her expression was very painful, and a kind of black branch had sprouted out of her nose and among her ears, and the top of this tiny branch blossomed with small purple flowers. This thing looked very ordinary, as if an ordinary person could pluck it off. In reality, it was so tough that it would require at least a fourth-ranked dragon spirit to make a move in order to pull and break it. And even if a part of it was pulled and broken, it would not be able to solve the symptoms within its body. The root system could not be resolved, and she would only suffer more. Lucian raised his hand on the woman's wrist after asking for Yang Chen's permission, and began to activate his spiritual energy to unleash his natural skill. In an instant, a strong force directly replaced the consciousness of this newborn plant demon monster and grasped the plant demon monster's body. Under Lucian's control, it quickly contracted its root system, before crawling out of the woman's throat bit by bit. With a violent dry heaving from the woman, the thing was spewed out. A fist-sized black thread-like plant demon monster was very special and rare. Creatures like demons, generally the rarer it was, the more special it was in its abilities. Its own energy level was not high, but it possessed destructive power beyond its own level. Lucian had no intention of keeping this thing. It was very dangerous. After taking it out, he directly used the power of thunder to turn it into black ash. Seeing his mother spit the thing out, Yang Chen hurriedly came forward to check it out, only to see that his mother had actually woken up directly. "Mom, how are you? Can you still feel that thing exist?" The woman shook her head and said in surprise, "No feeling at all, it seems to have completely ceased to exist." Yang Chen sniffed and cried with joy. "Great." He turned to look at Lucian, and actually knelt down directly and said, "Thank you for saving my mother. I will definitely use all means to repay your favor." Lucian waved his hand and said, "No need for me, it's just a matter of lifting my hand, and I'm happy to be able to help you. After all, I am a person who is kind to others and loves peace." Mu Bing and the others on the side heard this and didn't comment. The corpse outside spoke volumes. "People are dead, and you call this being good with people? Well, there was no problem if he was not treated as a human being." After this side of the conversation, a person from the Ice Emperor Demon Hunting Troop ran in and said, "Leader, the snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunters are here." Aside from Lucian and a few others, the rest of the people all had a slight change in color, obviously having some fear of this demon hunting regiment. The snow-drinking berserk dragon demon hunting troop, one of the members of the Ice City Demon Hunting Troop Council, had more than 200 official members, of which the head of the troop, Snow Berserk Dragon, was an intermediate 8th Order Starlight grade demon hunting warrior. The level of Demon Hunter Warrior is recognized as Gold level in the 7th Order, Starlight level in the 8th Order, Moonlight level in the 9th Order, and Sunlight level in the 10th Order. The snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunting Group was not the most powerful in Ice City, but it wasn't something to be messed with either. At least in this part of the world, no one would not give them face. Except for the Lucian few who had just arrived here. Learning that the deputy leader had been killed, Snow Berserkers couldn't just sit back and do nothing, or else the reputation of the snow-drinking Berserkers Demon Hunting Troop would fall to pieces, and the deterrence that had been so hard to build up would be gone. Therefore, he directly brought dozens of people and rushed over. He also thought on the way, this person was able to kill that waste of a Middlesex flag so easily, his strength must not be weak, at least he was also of the 8th rank, so he needed to be treated with caution. Therefore, he didn't directly rush up at the first opportunity, but waited for the person inside to come out. As soon as Lucian showed himself, a junior immediately pointed at him and said, "Boss, he's the one who killed the vice leader." Snow Frenzy Dragon looked at Lucian, not realizing that the person who had killed the Mito flag was so young, and looked as if he had just graduated from the middle of an advanced academy. The younger he was, the better his talent was, and he probably had some powerful family behind him. "My humble self, Snow Crazy Dragon, how do you call your little brother?" Lucian smiled. "You don't need to know my name, either fight or get lost." Snow Crazy Dragon's face sank at his words and said, "Kid, when you came out, didn't your family tell you not to be too wild?" Lucian sneered. "I'm an orphan, I've always been so wild, if you don't like me, do it." The more he said this, the more Snow Crazy Dragon felt that this person had some kind of dependence, especially after seeing the other party appear behind him with 5 beautiful maidens with their own distinctive features. It was even more of a feeling of not being able to figure it out. Therefore, he was still a bit hesitant. Lucian, however, said impatiently, "Alright, you have come over with such fanfare. If it was just to get to know me, then you have already gotten to know me now. Hurry up and go, don't block the street." Only garbage blocks the street. Martyr. Lao Zi couldn't stand it anymore. This guy was really too rampant. In this part of Ice City, who dared to be so wild with him? No matter what, he, Snow Frenzy Dragon, was also an 8th Order Imperial Dragon Envoy. How could he keep suffering from the provocations of a 5th Order Imperial Dragon Envoy and not do anything about it? Then how could he still mix in the future? No matter what kind of person you have behind you, let me teach your family's lord a lesson, so that you know what it means to crikey. Before Snow Mad Dragon could finish his words, he saw Lucian over there already charging towards him. And between the two, a golden dragon gate appeared, and Lucian completed his transformation into a dragon personification as he rushed towards him, transforming in the blink of an eye from a handsome teenage boy into a dragon person who was nearly 3 meters tall, with golden dragon scales and surrounded by thunder. Seeing this scene and sensing that terrifying aura, the snow-frenzied dragon subconsciously let out an exclamation, not even finishing his words, and was forced to accept the fight. Lucian's current half-dragonized state was something that demonic monsters below the 9th rank simply couldn't resist. As for Snow Berserk Dragon, a royal dragon envoy, without the cooperation of a dragon spirit, he couldn't even exert his battle power at the middle of the 8th rank in a stable manner. It was even more impossible to block it. With just a single strike, Lucian's true dragon's claw slapped on Snow Berserk Dragon's chest. He subconsciously used his arms to resist, resulting in the bones of his arms shattering, and then the force was transferred to his chest, causing his chest ribs to follow and break, and his entire person was sent flying out. Behind him several members of the Demon Hunting Corps were hit by his flying body. All of them were hit to the point where their internal organs were shattered and they spat out large mouthfuls of blood. After sending the Snow Berserker dragon flying, Lucian's eyes looked towards the surroundings and didn't find his dragon spirit, which was more troublesome. The Imperial Dragon envoys were usually married to their dragon spirit, so to solve it, it was best for the two of them to be together. Nothing else, just afraid that they would be lonely on the way to the Yellow Springs. If there is a family member, together to send to the road, so that the family whole is happiness. The other members of the snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunting Troop were all scared by Lucian's strike and retreated. After all, even if they were caught in the wave, there were a few who could no longer stand up. It was too powerful, far more powerful than their 8th rank leader. And at that moment, there was a scream from the distance. Brother! What happened to you? Since Madoki had taken all the people away, Milingi knew about his accident a little late, and at this time, she was still very weak, and the road was even slower. Lucian looked at her in this sad state and kindly reminded her, "Don't shake, he's already dead. I killed." Milingi's body instantly stiffened at those words, and then she turned her head to look at Lucian and said angrily, "I'll kill you." As she spoke, she was about to transform into her dragon spirit form, but Lucian didn't give her that chance. A thunderbolt fell, directly splitting her head into charcoal, and her entire body collapsed to the ground, making nuisance noises and smoke with the snow. Lucian was waiting for her words, decapitating the root and branch, but also have to be skillfully named. He himself was a representative of justice. Lucian walked up to the Snow Berserker Dragon, and his minions stepped aside. "Come, let me see how you're going to teach me a lesson." Snowmad Dragon's face suddenly changed at his words. At this time, he certainly understood that the other party had come to deliberately provoke him, and it was clear that he wanted to cut off his roots and eliminate the rhythm of future troubles. He endured the pain and spoke. "Brothers, this time, we'll admit it. I promise that the snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunting Group will leave Ice City from now on, and will take a detour when they see you. I won't continue to offend you for the sake of that guy, Madoki. Madoki also has a wife, his dragon spirit, who is now fighting the demonic monsters alongside my wife, so I guess they will come over soon, and I will kill her to show my sincerity. Please spare my life. If you don't say that this person could be the head of the group, this thinking turn is fast." Lucian thought about it. He really didn't need to actually kill all the people from the snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunting Regiment. If the other party could bring this karma to an end, then it would be better to do more than less. In this way, it would also save him a trip to the snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunter's residence. However, he didn't feel that he had made a mistake by provoking a move earlier. If there wasn't enough deterrence, then peace talks were humiliating. Just like the current snow-drinking Berserk Dragon, Lucian could have spared him, and there was more than a 90% probability that he wouldn't come back to trouble Lucian again. This was because the current Lucian was already very powerful, and such a young and powerful person, even if there was no big family behind him, he still had the background of the Federation, and it was not something that a loose cannon like him could mess with. With a thinking ability like Snow Mad Dragon, he should be able to think of this. Just in time, several figures quickly flew in from mid-air. They had transformed into women and landed beside Berserk Dragon. One of them, a middle-aged woman of the 8th rank, hurried over to inquire when she saw how wretched Snow Berserk Dragon looked. "Ah, maniac! How are you? Hua! What kind of age is this, and you're still calling it so intimately?" Lucian couldn't help but feel a little chilled. Today he had to make Song Xiao call her husband 100 times to wash her ears. On the other side, a woman of the 7th rank was standing on the side with a somewhat pale face, her eyes staring at Lucian. This person should be Madoki's wife, as well as his contracted dragon spirit, who had suffered a backlash because of the death of Madoki, the Imperial Dragon Envoy. The Snow-Mad Dragon said to the middle-aged woman, "I'm fine. Amei, kill Mido Flag's dragon spirit." The 8th-ranked dragon spirit called Mei froze for about half a second at his words, then he turned around and made his move on the pale 7th-ranked woman. The woman was also decisive, turning around and running away without bothering to plead for anything. Lucian, on the other hand, had already prepared for this, and just as she turned around, a thunderbolt landed on her body. The destructive power of the 8th rank caused her to immediately lose her ability to move before she was decapitated by May, who had caught up with her. At this time, Snow Frenzy Dragon looked at Lucian and said, "Brother, we will leave now, with your permission." With such a low stance, Lucian couldn't afford to continue pursuing anything, waving his hand and saying, "I will be moving around the Blue Ice River in the near future, don't let me see you again." Snow Crazy Dragon at this time has been in the Demon Hunter group of Healing Dragon Spirit, cured most of the injuries, although it is broken bones, injured internal organs, but this kind of injuries instead of good treatment, poisoning ulcers and other injuries is difficult to heal. Upon hearing this, he immediately stood up and respectfully said, "We're going to the northeast, and we won't come near Danjian City for 3 years. As the people from the snow-drinking Berserk Dragon Demon Hunting Troop left in droves, Lucian turned his head, looked at Mu Bing, and laughed. "Now, can we talk about tomorrow's arrangements?" With the deaths of both the Madoki couple and Milingi, this matter was considered to be basically over. Mu Bing looked dumbfounded. She had never seen that a royal dragon envoy had actually used a dragon human form without combining it with a dragon spirit, and moreover, this ability that should have been mastered only at the 7th rank was being used by a 5th rank royal dragon. What was even more shocking was that a 5th rank imperial dragon envoy, with a single strike, had knocked down an 8th rank imperial dragon envoy. Such battle power had almost rivaled the 9th rank. Such a natural ability, it was a bit too terrifying. Could this be the legendary SSS grade talent? Problems are solved, moving this time very quickly and Lucian a few people to complete the Demon Hunting Core Station mission handover. The next day, officially began to rotate station and alternating cultivation days. Sometimes, a man and 5 different characteristics of the beauty of the maiden in the same room, also will be a little boring. After all, every day is just a bit of work. Cultivating, fighting, and intense exercise. After one day, Ran advanced to the lower 2nd rank, and the rank continued to rise rapidly after that. Lucian, on the other hand, felt that his cultivation had reached a new bottleneck, and he needed a way that would allow him to break through, preferably the kind that provided a large amount of energy at once. After thinking about it, he decided to directly utilize his Devour talent to absorb that 9th order Yuan Dan. Before, he didn't dare to directly absorb it because his body wasn't strong enough yet. But now, the strength of his body was already comparable to that of an 8th rank dragon spirit, and with this 9th rank Yuan Dan, most of the energy in it had been consumed by a few people, so there was no problem at all in giving it to him to devour on his own now. After Lucian took it, he only felt his body's breath surging, and a large amount of spiritual energy exploded out in one fell swoop, giving him a feeling of extreme expansion. He hurriedly called Xia Lingshan and the others all to the house. "Quickly! Pose, I'm about to be unable to hold back." After the skin of his palms fit together, Lucian transmitted the surging spiritual energy in his body to Xia Lingshan, and as a result, within a few minutes, she couldn't do it anymore, and he hurriedly switched to Wan Qinghan, then Su Zitong, Song Xiao, and finally Qi Ran, who had just joined not too long ago, could only stare with a heart on as well. After one night, several people are all sound. Qi Ran had only just broken through to the 2nd rank lower level yesterday, and today he reached the 2nd rank intermediate level. Su Zitong successfully stepped into the 5th rank, and the rest of the people also had their own improvements. The one who gained the most, of course, was Lucian, who had stepped into the 6th order lower level and felt that he wasn't far from breaking through to the 6th order intermediate level. The promotion of the basic strength represented that the strength after the dragonization would be even stronger. Looking at Lucian, who had become even more powerful, Wan Qinghan said with a rather sour tone, "You've promoted so fast, we can't catch up. When the time comes, we can only let you protect us, we can't afford to protect you." Lucian Color said, "Of course, it is my responsibility to protect you. I said that I will protect you all." Song Xiao nodded her head seriously as she sniffed and said, "Yes, you said that many times." The rest of the few women were smiling and didn't say anything, but the streams of light in their eyes also showed that there were fluctuations within their hearts as well. 7 days passed in a flash, and on this day, Lucian and a few women went to the Blue Ice River together to carry out a garrison mission. This piece of range wasn't small, so they were split into 2 parts. Lucian brought Qi Ran, who was still far from being able to do so, along with the rest of the several women. Qi Ran's wood-born talent was difficult to utilize her attacking power in this icy cold environment where not an inch of grass could be found, and the spirit sacrifice talent was even a purely auxiliary talent skill, so her battle power was very low. Moreover, right now, she had only just reached the upper 2nd rank and needed protection. The battle power of the demons here was not high. Lucian was mainly accompanying Ran to exercise her combat ability. If he were to get real, he could clean up the demons here within 5 minutes. After fighting for a while, Lu Xun told her to take a rest, and the two were just about to sit down against a big bear tree when they saw Xia Lingchan walking alone from a distance. Xia Lingchan was the oldest, the oldest amongst the several women, so she was the eldest sister amongst the 5. Sister Xia! She saw her coming and took the initiative to walk forward to greet her, but she was pulled back by Lu Xun. Without warning, Lu Xun summoned the dragon gate and passed through it, directly transforming into a true dragon. No matter who you are, coming so deceitfully covered up is an enemy, Lu Xun said, charging directly towards the Xia Lingchan below. The Xia Lingchan below saw this and revealed a look of surprise, before coldly saying, I didn't expect that you would be able to see through my disguise so easily, you really are extraordinary. Also, your strength, surprisingly, has broken through again. As he spoke, the appearance of this Xia Lingchan faded away abruptly, revealing the appearance of a woman in a black dress. It was none other than that Holy Spirit sex, one of the 4 major rudiments, the Northern Battlezone ruler, Knight Underworld Moon, a 9th-ranked powerhouse with SS-ranked talent. She was very surprised when Lu Xun recognized her disguise with a single glance. This was because what she had performed was her own SS-ranked dragon spirit, Nightmare Demon Dragon, natural skill illusion, and, these days, she had also made a point of observing Xia Lingchan and learning all the details of her movements. She had prepared for so long, and before she could even open her mouth, without even saying a single word, she was recognized. It was as if she had been preparing for a performance for over a week with all her heart and soul, and before she had even started, she was being pointed at and scolded. She was both surprised and annoyed in her heart. According to the information she had gotten earlier, Lu Xun's strength was probably the lower 9th rank after he changed into his true dragon state, but now, this powerful aura had already reached the middle 9th rank. Moreover, it wasn't an ordinary demonic monster's intermediate 9th rank, it was the 9th rank at the low-level king level, which was the level of a demonic monster on the same level as a human's S-class talent. With such an aura, it was only a small level weaker than Knight Stygian Moon, who was a 9th rank intermediate dragon spirit with SS rank talent. Surprisingly, he had grown so fast and was able to see through his disguise with a single glance. This fellow was definitely a great danger to the Holy Spirit sex heart. Originally, she was still thinking of approaching Lu Xun, looking for an opportunity to make Lu Xun open the dragon gate, thus helping her to complete an evolution as well. An S rank or above talent meant that it was possible to impact a level above the 9th rank, and having an SSS rank talent meant that it was inevitable that one could reach the 10th rank. Her idea was to have Lu Xun help her raise her talent to SSS rank, but now, with the disguise recognized, she could only kill him. This was because he was no longer within the realm of control. Lu Xun had already sent a message to Zhang Jinggui for help, but he didn't pretend that he hadn't recognized the Knight Stygian Moon to stall for time, because letting the other party get close would be a foolish thing to do. Moreover, he needed time to summon the Dragon Gate as well as complete the action of leaping the Dragon Gate for his transformation, and once he got close, he might be controlled by the other party. Not being able to figure out what cards the other party had, directly displaying his full strength and fighting for a ray of hope was the most correct choice, rather than dragging it out to face sudden dangers at any time. Therefore, at the very first moment, Lu Xun unleashed his true dragon body and entered the strongest combat state. Knight Underworld Moon also transformed into the dragon spirit form in the next moment. It was a bipedal flying dragon with purplish-red scales, nearly 50 meters in length, with a horned head, a fierce face, and a scar on its face, which seemed to carry a divine aura on it. Obviously, this woman had once been seriously injured by someone with a divine aura, and it was a direct injury to her face. An attack of this attribute had hurt her greatly, and the scar could not even heal until the power of the attribute was removed, becoming a mark on her face. A permanent scar was a very scary thing for a woman, especially when that scar was still on her face. One part of the reason she had come to Lu Xun this time in search of evolution was to gain the possibility of healing this scar by way of evolution. But now, Lu Xun was no longer controllable, and the only way was to strike down. The fact that she was able to become one of the 4 helmsmen, aside from her strength, her grasp of the big picture was also an aspect of the reason. Between eliminating this heartache and recovering the injuries on her face, she had already made her choice. An eastern 5-clawed golden dragon and a western bipedal flying dragon battled together. Although Lu Xun was a notch below Knight Stygian Moon in terms of aura, his natural skills were all at the super god level, and when they fought, they even vaguely suppressed the latter. After Knight Stygian Moon fought Lu Xun for a few minutes, he also realized this phenomenon, and he was actually at a disadvantage. This kid was really bizarre. Not only could he release a terrifying aura to suppress himself, he could also unleash water arrows, thunder, sound wave attacks, all sorts of ways, giving her a feeling of exhaustion. I really didn't expect that you would have so many abilities. It seems that you must be demonized in order to deal with you. Knight Underworld Moon hadn't even planned to use her dragon spirit form when she arrived. She was still very confident in her SS rank talent. As a result, Lu Xun could tell at a glance that she wasn't human. Now, after directly exchanging blows, She was even suppressed by Lucian, which gave her a humiliating feeling of successive setbacks. She was one of the 4 helmsmen of the Holy Spirit sect, a 9th-ranked dragon spirit with SS-ranked talent, and she had been suppressed by a 6th-ranked Imperial Dragon envoy. She, who already had murderous intent towards Lucian, was bursting with murderous aura at this moment. Direct demonization. Demonization referred to stimulating the demon monster bloodline that they had obtained after fusing the demon monsters, while releasing the demon chi in their bodies. In an instant, Night Underworld Moon's size swelled to nearly 80 meters, a row of white bone spurs sprouted from her back, and her head, which looked like a large lizard, became even more horrifying. With a roar, her breath soared to the 10th rank. As expected, this surge in strength after demonization was so extraordinary that it was able to directly allow a 9th Order dragon spirit to break through the barrier of the 10th Order and step into such a large level. However, Lucian did not have the slightest fear. A mere evil demon, I am a Chinese divine dragon, how can I be afraid? Launching the talent, Spirit Sacrifice. This belongs to Chi Rant's natural skill. As long as it is released, it can always exist. Although it will continuously consume spiritual energy, the effect is also extremely reliable. For one, it could continuously heal injuries, and secondly, it was that divine attribute boost. Sacred attribute, to put it bluntly. It was the expression of a high level of extreme attribute energy. Demonic Chi was also an extreme attribute, an extreme chaos. The sacred attribute, on the other hand, was the ultimate purity, specifically used to restrain the latter. If the demonic Chi was strong enough, it could also restrain the sacred attribute. However, at this moment, Lucian fused the sacred attribute with the help of dragon might and sound waves, among other things, making his killing power against demonic Chi directly double. Night Underworld Moon was injured by Lucian's claw on her wing, the power of thunder destroying her flesh and skin, while the sacred attribute was like boiling her bones into soup, along with her nerves. It left her in excruciating pain. You even have the divine attribute. You're going to die, you must die here today. For people with sacred attributes, Night Maiden Moon had a feeling of extreme hatred, and at this moment, when she realized that Lucian's attack even came with sacred attribute damage as well, the scars on her face seemed to faintly ache. That bad memory surfaced, and she became even more maniacal. Directly releasing her strongest attack skill, Phantom Dream Demon Spirit, a black dragon-shaped demonic aura rushed towards Lucian. Facing the pressure of the 10th rank's aura, Lucian didn't panic in the slightest. He was a true dragon. Whether it was strength, defense or vitality, it was all top tier. Even in the face of such a powerful force and such a terrifying attack falling, he still maintained his composure. After contracting 5 dragon spirits, the true dragon state was enough to last for more than an hour. He felt that he would have absolutely no problem holding out until support arrived. Seeing that the Phantom Dream Demon Spirit had arrived in front of him almost in the blink of an eye, Lucian immediately made a dodge and counterattack. But that attack was too fast and too strong. And the Thunder Dragon Claw that contained the divine aura that fell couldn't even destroy it completely, only cancelling out a portion of the energy. And the remaining portion rushed into his body. To be precise, it attacked his soul. As a Nightmare Demon Dragon, its most powerful method of attack was to impact the opponent's soul in its demonic spirit form. The vast majority of dragon spirits were weak in terms of soul defense, so she was almost invincible when she performed this attack, and the only time she failed was the battle that produced the scar on her face. She thought that although Lucian possessed so many means, soul-wise in the end, he was only a 6th-ranked Imperial Dragon envoy, so for this attack of her own, she almost had the confidence of certain death. However, the result was that she was seriously injured. After that demonic spirit penetrated deep into the sea of Lucian's soul, it found that there was a golden light here, and there was no humanoid Lucian present. Instead, there was an incomparably powerful golden dragon. Aang! A dragon's roar erupted as the golden dragon came towards the dragon spirit to kill, with the power of thunder, the evil quelling golden light, the divine breath, and all sorts of energies layered on top of each other, attacking with pure soul spirit. With just one bite, this demonic spirit was purified of 1/8 of its parts. Immediately after that, in 3 clicks, this demonic spirit created by Night Underworld Moon by consuming a large amount of her own spiritual energy was annihilated by Lucian's true dragon soul. As a descendant of a dragon, everyone is like a dragon. I am the true dragon, and my soul can also transform into a dragon. It makes sense, doesn't it? The demonic spirit contained the main consciousness of the Night Underworld Moon, and being annihilated at this time caused her to suffer a backlash as well. In her heart, Lucian's killing intent was even more prevalent. At that moment, she suddenly stopped, because she sensed an extremely powerful aura approaching rapidly. Night Underworld Moon's complexion changed, and she gave Lucian a resentful glance, with a bit of unwillingness. However, she didn't hesitate any longer, and without caring about anything else, she immediately flew in one direction, trying to escape. You won't be able to run away this time. A majestic voice came out, and it was clearly a true 10th rank powerhouse descending. Unsurprisingly, it should be that Northern Warzone Jinghua Zhang. The proper town guards of the 4 major war zones were all at the 10th rank demon level. Their dragon spirits were all guarding the Great Wall at the borders, while the relatively weaker Imperial Dragon envoys were guarding the various main cities in case any powerful demonic monsters were born from the demon den camps, as well as suppressing human traitors like the Holy Spirit cult. Zhang Jinghua wore a set of silver-white armor with reddish-golden lines, which was the same as the profound dragon armor that Lu Xun had obtained, and was also a top-tier memory metal armor. He also had a large sword in his hand. This was his talent, Sword of the Sacred Contract. After sensing this powerful aura, Night Under Moon developed an incomparable resentment and fear. In the beginning, it was this person who had left such a wound on her face. That was why she had come here, creating trouble for him in an attempt to get back at him in this way. After all, in a frontal confrontation, there was no way she could be a match for a true 10th rank powerhouse, even if the other party was only an Imperial Dragon envoy whose strength was weak compared to a dragon spirit. It was the same even if she was in the midst of a demonic chi outburst. Zhang Jinghua possessed a top SSS grade talent, possessed a 10th rank spirit energy level, and represented the strongest battle power in this realm. He was almost invincible. The moment she sensed this aura, Night Underworld Moon made the decision to escape. However, she was forgetting. The last time she was able to escape from Zhang Jinghua's hands was because at that time, she was at the 8th rank while Zhang Jinghua was at the 9th rank. Although there was a difference between the 8th and 9th ranks, it was far from the level of the gap between the 9th and 10th ranks. Before the 9th rank, it could be called the mortal level, and above the 9th rank, it could be called a god. Although Night Munua briefly possessed a portion of god power with her demonic chi, she was not a god after all. Divine Verdict. Lu Xun vaguely heard a voice coming from the distance, which seemed to be an incomparably majestic sound that came from the soul-level Royal Dragon Envoy talent, rather than coming from someone's mouth. Immediately afterward, a huge lightsaber appeared in the distance. The lightsaber fell, and a mournful cry came out. It seemed that there was also a woman screaming unwillingly. In the distance, the huge flying dragon figure incarnated by Night Underworld Moon was chopped into 2 pieces by a sword. Watching such a magnificent scene caused Lu Xun to not be able to help but create some surprise in his heart as well. So this was the true power of a 10th rank powerhouse? Just a 10th ranked Imperial Dragon Envoy could unleash such a powerful skill. If a 10th ranked Dragon Spirit was here, how powerful would it be? Night Underworld Moon's corpse seemed to have been put away by Zhang Jinghua, who came to Lu Xun's side. Good boy, getting stronger again. It seems that the resources given to you weren't wasted. To think that you could tangle with Night Underworld Moon, one of the Holy Spirit's X4 helmsmen, for so long. In her state of demonic chi eruption, her strength is on the verge of the 10th rank. Zhang Jinghua's eyes were filled with appreciation as he looked at Lu Xun, not mincing his words of praise. Lu Xun had already regained her human form and laughed. Thank you for your compliments, Jinghua. I will still become stronger and look forward to reaching your level. Zhang Jinghua smiled and said, in less than a year, no, in less than 10 months, you have already reached the 6th rank, possessing unrivaled battle power below the 10th rank. This talent, it's truly terrifying. Your bloodline power is definitely not just a simple SSS rank. That divine dragon bloodline, it's surprisingly so powerful. Regarding the characteristics of people who contain the divine dragon bloodline, you organize a piece of information for me, and I'll have someone help you check. With one more SSS ranked dragon spirit, you'll grow a little faster, and if they can grow as well, in the future, you'll be the biggest dependency of the Yanxia Federation. Lu Xun said with surprise at his words. That's really great. I've always wanted to discover more divine dragon bloodline possessors, so that they can get rid of their tragic and unjust fate. This is the dragon that belongs to our Yanxia people themselves. Doesn't Lord Jinghua feel a surge of affection? Zhang Jinghua froze for a moment at his words, seeming to be caught up in some sort of reminiscence, nodding his head and saying, indeed, after seeing your true dragon form, I did feel a sense of affinity from the depths of my bloodline, but it was as if it was suppressed by something, preventing me from truly perceiving what was within that bloodline. It seems that your divine dragon bloodline may be hiding some secret. I'll go back and have someone look for information, so I might be able to find out a little something. It should be possible to find out something, and if there's anything I need to help, I'll definitely do my best to help. Lu Xun made a statement. Zhang Jinghua patted his shoulder and said, a good Yanxia man. Alright, with Night Underworld Moon being killed by me, the Holy Spirit sect shouldn't send out any more powerful people to deal with you in a short period of time, but you shouldn't take it lightly either. Keep working hard. Only when you have a strong strength yourself can you truly protect those you love and those who love you. After saying that, he turned around and turned into a white light and flew away. Talented enough to treat people politely. Lu Xun was very popular in the eyes of these executives, and it was only right for him to receive the most help when he showed his extremely high talent. While Zhang Jinghua left, Xiao Lingchan and the girls ran over. Just now, they had sensed a powerful aura and worried that Lu Xun would be in trouble, so they immediately came over here to check the situation. What happened just now? Xia Lingchan asked. Qi Ran took the initiative to pick up the conversation and said, just now, there was a person who impersonated you to approach us, but was seen through by Lu Jin with a single glance. Lu Jin really knows Sister Xia very well. Xia Lingchan was surprised. Impersonating me? There is still such an ability? Lu Jin nodded and said, yes, it's a 9th-ranked dragon spirit. It should still be an SS-ranked talent, using an illusionary ability. However, I know each and every one of you, from top to bottom, very well, and I can tell the slightest difference. That's why at the first glance I confirmed that she wasn't you, and then made a direct move. She was very strong, being one of the Holy Spirit Sect's 4 helmsmen, the Night Underworld Moon, and in the end, it was Zhang Jinsho who arrived and killed her. Hearing Lu Jin's first 2 sentences, Xia Lingchan couldn't help but blush, but when she heard the latter, she exclaimed, the 4 helmsmen actually took action against us personally. Su Zitong picked up the conversation. It seems that your talent is so powerful that it has made the people of the Holy Spirit sect very jealous and want to get rid of you as soon as possible. The 4 helmsmen are considered to be the strongest under the Holy Spirit Church's Lord, and since you can fight with Night Stygian Moon for so long, there is no one who can do anything to you for now here in the Northern War Zone. It's considered safe, but it's unknown if they'll send another person behind them, and if they strike next time, it'll be that Hall Master level character, definitely not something you can deal with right now. Ruan Qinghan frowned and said. Song Shiyao sniffed and hugged Lu Jin's arm, saying firmly, I will fight with you. Lu Jin stroked her head and laughed. I said I would protect you guys, you won't be killed so easily. Next, we'll continue training here for a month, and when Qi Ran's level rises, we'll go to the Great Wall in the north, the Holy Spirit sect won't go there. In the blink of an eye, 4 days later, Lu Jin was invited by Zhang Jinguo to come to Danjiang City. Zhang Jinguo was very efficient. He took the initiative to help Lu Jin look for information about divine dragon bloodline possessors. Of course he didn't look for it himself, but mobilized his secretarial team to sift through it. Starting from Lu Jin's term, the screening continued upwards. Generally speaking, amongst the national batch of awakened people, C rank, D rank, and E rank awakened people accounted for 95% of the total, with the rest of the talent being at the lowest level of F rank or B rank or above. So the total number of people in this batch wasn't too many. For Lu Jin to find them by himself, it was certainly slow. But if a whole group of secretaries were to sift through the whole day, they could quickly come up with a batch of suspicious candidates. A total of 100 profiles were sifted out, allowing Lu Jin to come over for identification to see if any of them met the criteria. Lu Jin looked at the interface, and the information of the 100 female guests surfaced on the screen. Zhang Jinguo said, you recognize them first, these 100, if you choose one, I'll immediately send someone to pick her up and see if she really possesses the divine dragon bloodline. If it's true, let her contract with you, if not, I'll make proper arrangements. What else did Lu Jin have to say? Of course, he hurriedly checked the information of the 100 girls. In fact, from the dragon spirit's name, he could tell if it was or not. On the one hand, the possessor of a true dragon bloodline had a name that was specific. On the other hand, the so-called dragon spirits in this world were all named with attributes plus characteristics, and the only thing that was in line with Yanxia civilization's own naming characteristics was the Eastern True Dragon bloodline. These 100 people were everyone from Lu Jin's term to the last 9 terms. The oldest, 9 years older than Lu Jin, was 27 years old. The information of the 100 people was quickly read through, and to Lu Jin's surprise there were actually 2 people. Fu Huasheng, 24 years old, senior judge of the 9th Court of the Southern War Zone, and his dragon spirit was a Class F, Negaverse. Morong Haniang, 25 years old, deputy city lord of Wangjiang City in the Southern War Zone, and his dragon spirit was Class F, quoted. Among all the cities, there was only one city lord, who himself was a powerful dragon envoy or dragon spirit, while the deputy city lords had no requirement for strength, because the deputy city lords were only responsible for the daily management, and it was the city lord's responsibility to protect the city. That's why there are a lot of ordinary people with low-level talent who don't cultivate who hold this position. Similarly, the position of judge was the same. She only needed to execute the power brought to her by the Federation and the law, and did not need personal force to uphold her majesty. Seeing the information about these 2, Lu Jin was hesitant. Both of them have their own jobs and important positions. Is it appropriate to bring them here? Zhang Jinguo said in a resolute tone. There is nothing inappropriate. Your safety is a big deal to the entire Federation. The 2 of them can be replaced by someone in their jobs, while your ability is unrivaled. However, the people are in the Southern War Zone. In order to prevent the Holy Spirit cult's people from messing up, the earliest we need to wait for 3 days before we can bring the people here. You stay here, wait for the people to come, after the appraisal, then you can go and continue to hunt the demonic monsters. The elders gave, and did not dare to resign. Not to mention that it was 2 big duties, of course he wouldn't refuse. So the few people stayed in the middle of Danjiang City, still maintaining their efficient cultivation. The one who practiced the most diligently now was Ji-ran. She had previously tasted the pain and powerlessness of having no strength, and at the same time, she knew that nowadays, everyone's strength was very strong, and only she was the weakest, dragging everyone down. Therefore, she worked very hard. Lucian fully supplied her with what she needed. No matter how many times or how much she wanted, Lucian could satisfy her. Let her live each day to the fullest. Estimating that in about a week to 10 days, she would be able to step into the 3rd rank, and by then, after absorbing the awakening dragon potion, she would have the strength of the 4th rank. Stepping into the 4th rank was the time to really start catching up with the footsteps of a few people. Time came 3 days later. That morning, the first woman was sent to Lucian. Fu Huasheng was wearing the uniform of a judge in this world, black pants and a white shirt, and since she was just an ordinary person, she was given an extremely warm green coat to drape over her body, and her eyes underneath a pair of gold-rimmed spectacles were full of puzzlement and doubt. The day before yesterday afternoon, there were suddenly a few people who visited, and after presenting their documents, they brought her into a military airplane, escorted her with a high-level dragon spirit, and came all the way to Danjiang City in the northern war zone before releasing her. On the way, she inquired many times, but these people only said that there was one thing she needed to cooperate with. What it was not mentioned at all. Finally, she was sent into this room, and in this room, there was another man. "Who are you and what are you doing to me?" Although she was confident in her looks, she wasn't stupid enough to think that the other party was trying to possess her to take so much trouble, even using the highest level of official power to capture her. The so-called red face was a blessing, but a blessing to the nation and the people was indeed nothing more than an exaggerated adjective. A person, even how beautiful they were, would not sway the destiny of a country, nor would they use such a powerful force. Lucian laughed. "My name is Lucian, a simple 18-year-old big boy. The one who insisted on bringing you here is the town guardian lord, so I can't be blamed. To put it simply, out of 100 female guests, I chose you. I need you to make a contract with me. You contain a divine dragon bloodline in your body. By contracting with me, this bloodline can be awakened, and in turn, you will evolve into a SSS-class dragon spirit. Is this reason acceptable to you?" Fu Huasheng was incomparably shocked by what she heard. Her glasses were about to fall off. She held them up and said, "How did you determine that?" Lucian replied, "The power in the bloodline guides. Put your hand on my palm and you will sense it." Fu Huasheng hesitated for a moment, but still put her hand over. When she touched Lucian's palm, she suddenly felt that her dragon spirit form seemed to become very active, and her spiritual energy was surging, almost as if it was going to spurt out. She hurriedly separated from Lucian, and that feeling disappeared. "Really? I'm actually really a divine dragon bloodline. I can become a SSS-class dragon spirit?" Fu Huasheng was now filled with anticipation. At the age of 24, she had already been an ordinary person for more than 6 years, busying herself with legal work every day just to find her own value, to prove that she had always been an excellent person. But in the midst of such a society with a clear class division, the waste dragon spirit was the bottom of the heap. Even if she was in a high position, sitting in the judge's seat, the breath released by a criminal on trial could leave her breathless. She was very eager to become strong, but the lowest rank allowed her to only fantasize. And now, suddenly, she was brought from the south to the north, to a strange boy who told her that he could help her change her fate. Such a big surprise made her a bit disorganized, losing the composure that she used to have in the face of death and the law. Lucian once again extended his hand to her. "Come with me, after the contract, you will know." Fu Huasheng put her hand on Lucian's hand, and this time, instead of letting go after a light touch, she clasped her 10 fingers together and firmly grasped Lucian's hand. It was as if she was afraid that everything was not real, afraid that Lucian would walk away. At this time, Lucian but suddenly remembered something like, "By the way, there's more than one girl in your situation. I've already completed the contract with 5 people, so you don't have to worry about failing. I didn't miss my choice." Fu Huasheng's smile and excitement stopped violently. "Did they all break the contract with you?" she asked. Lucian shook her head and said, "Of course not. They all maintain a contractual relationship with me, and as long as they are dragon spirits that contain divine dragon bloodlines, I can contract them without limitations. After contracting with me, every time you level up you can allow me to help your bloodline get enhanced again. The SSS rank is not the strongest talent rank. There are even more powerful talents above it. With my help, they reach the 5th rank in less than a year. This kind of cultivation speed can't be achieved even by an SSS rank talent. If it were you, would you want to break the contract with me?" Fu Huasheng sniffed in shock. "You can actually contract with so many people. Could it be that your talent is a multi-person contract?" Lucian smiled and said, "I'm a dual talent, the first talent divine contract, which means that I can make unlimited contracts with dragon spirits that have a divine dragon bloodline. The second talent is Dragon Gate, which is the natural ability to help you evolve. So are you willing to join our collective? Are you willing to become a SSS ranked dragon spirit, or even touch a higher level of talent?" Are you willing to be my sixth contractual object? The last few chained questions, Lucian really looked Fu Huaxing in the eyes and said them seriously. The latter was obviously a bit disorganized in her mind. The idea of an Imperial Dragon envoy contractually bonding with a dragon spirit was still maintained in her thinking. Once one chose to contract with a person, then it almost meant that one was going to be married to that person. But this current situation was obviously somewhat of an exception. Lucian's talent was her only chance to escape this current fate, and her heart yearned for a higher level of talent. It would have been fine if she didn't know about it, but now that she knew about it, who wouldn't want better? Especially with the knowledge that she had the same opportunity. That's when a kind of self-doubt of everyone else can, why can't I arises. And then there is a rush to affirm yourself, and thus convince yourself. I do. Fu Huaxing once again clenched her hand tightly. She actually had no choice. Because after knowing about this opportunity, it was impossible for her to give up. In the past few years, she had been thinking about getting rid of her fate all the time. Now that the opportunity was right in front of her, how could she miss it? What was the use if there was no chance after this miss, or if a new chance would only come again when she was 70 years old? A contract doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be a husband and wife, you can also be close comrades in arms. She thought like this, suppressing her inner feelings of being with other girls who were the discomfort of sharing a boy. Only the adjective intimate that she subconsciously added also meant that deep down she didn't think so. Everything was now behind her, she only wanted to complete the contract, she only wanted to evolve. The two of them arrived at that Sanglong Academy's contract platform, and there were only the two of them and the dean, Li Jojo. Xia Lingchan and the few of them didn't follow, they were enjoying a rare break. Usually, they were either fighting or engaged in intense cultivation with Lucian, and rarely did they have this kind of leisure time to really take a break. Of course, there was also the meaning of not wanting to see any more images of him contracting with other women. It was said that they didn't care, but there were always some ripples. Right now they were still just closer comrades in arms, that was the position for now, and that was all one could do to convince oneself. Not everyone could be as easily satisfied as Song Xiao. Sanglong Academy, on the packed stage. Fu Huaxing stood here. Before the age of 18, she had fantasized countless times about the sight of herself standing here, fantasizing that a teenager with an extremely high talent would contract with her, and then the two of them would fight side by side together, and walk into the hall of marriage together. But when the talent awakened, all the beautiful dreams were shattered, and even her once best friend turned away from her. She did not blame anyone. Imperial Dragon warriors and ordinary people is two different classes, away from the best choice. It was just that she had always had a strong sense of unwillingness. After all, she was once a genius with top test scores, but she was once reduced to a disliked object, and was even devalued as worthless. In order to prove her worth, she took the judge exam, and in just a few years became a senior judge with the power to make a decision, but that didn't allow her to erase that scar. For the first time after many years, she stood on the packed stage, and there in front of her was a boy she had fantasized about, handsome, extremely gifted, and even the age she had been when she fantasized about him. By contracting with him now, she could awaken a powerful dragon spirit, and could fight alongside him. The only thing that can't be fulfilled, it seems, is that she can't walk into marriage. It didn't matter anymore. Fu Huaxing placed her hands on Lucian's palms, tranquilized her heart, the contract spell formation opened, golden threads appeared, and the contract was completed. Immediately afterward, Lucian summoned the dragon gate, Fu Huaxing's body gradually faded, and a clawless white dragon with white scales and red eyes appeared. She flew into the dragon gate and golden light wrapped it, a powerful roar came out and the golden light dispersed, transforming into a four-clawed white dragon that reached a length of more than 7 meters. The aura that belonged to an SSS-class dragon spirit was released. At the same time, information about Fu Huaxing surfaced in Lucian's mind. Fu Huaxing, Negasonic, SSS grade, rank, First Order, Divine Talent 1, taking off clouds and driving mist, can fly in the air and harness clouds and mist. Divine Gift 2, Literary Literacy, can recognize all words and learn their meanings. Divine Talent 3, Literary Chi, can use words to unleash attacks, words follow the law. Fu Huaxing roamed the air for a while before coming down. Before she became an SSS ranked talent, she was unable to fly and had no claws, so she could only crawl on the ground when she changed into a dragon spirit. The attack power was almost equal to nothing. At this moment, not only did she have limbs, but she could also directly control the clouds to make herself fly up in the air. It was as if once she was only worthy of crawling on the ground in the gloom, but now she was able to freely roam the 9 heavens. That kind of smooth feeling of releasing the boredom in her heart once and for all, made her very mesmerized. Falling back to the ground, at this time she was no longer shaken by her choice. Then, always calm and introverted, known for her rigor, even a moment of hot-headedness, embraced Lucian, directly kissed up. Lucian had always been incapable of rejecting beautiful women, so he could only obey her and stuck out his tongue. Knight Jojo on the side coughed lightly, reminding these two that there was another old man on the scene. This young man doesn't know how to give the old man some face, openly kissing and hugging in the academy. Although not from the academy, you show this to the old man? Fu Huaxing's own face burned red after she let go of Lu Jin. She didn't know why, but just now she suddenly had a strong urge to hug this little boy in front of her. Could it be that she had been single for a long time, so she couldn't hold herself for a while? In reality, this was a bloodline attraction. After completing the contract with Fu Huaxing, Lu Jin had obtained 6 true dragon bloodlines, and after fusing these 6 true dragon bloodlines, the true dragon power he possessed had reached an extremely strong level. It could be said that in the eyes of the dragon spirit of the divine dragon bloodline, he was the most affectionate person. This level of cordiality even surpassed the parents who had given birth to them now. Therefore, at that moment, Fu Huaxing had unloaded all of her defenses against him, and thus, just in accordance with the throbbing of her heart, she initiated an act of possession against him, but then she restrained herself. The two of them walked down the deed platform. Li Jojo laughed. Good. I, the Yanxia Federation, have another SSS-class dragon spirit and another guardian god in the future. Fu Huaxing, she is the daughter of the South Sifu family, right? A scholarly family, this temperament is the look of a great lady. Lu Jin, you can't bully people. Hearing this, Lu Jin, however, revealed an aggrieved look and said, Grandpa Li, don't talk nonsense, just now it was clearly her bullying me. Fu Huaxing's face turned even redder when he heard this, and instead of ignoring Lu Jin, he saluted Li Jojo and said, Greetings, Grandpa Li. My father is none other than the current head of the South Sifu family, Fu Tianda. Greetings to you. Li Jojo said smilingly to Lu Jin. You see this knowledgeable look, how could people bully you? Lu Jin sniffed speechless. This old man is not reasonable. Just now clearly see clearly, now even open eyes say blind. In the end is the old man has become bad, or the bad man has become old? This is the moral degeneration or the distortion of human nature? Okay. What you say is what you say. Lu Jin could only say helplessly. At this time, a group of people suddenly came this way, and one of them was clearly Zhang Jinghua. He was accompanied by a short-haired woman with a serious face. Finished the contract? What level is it? Zhang Jinghua asked impatiently as soon as he came over. Li Jojo smiled and said, No surprises, still SSS grade. He didn't hide it because Zhang Jinghua was the one who only brought that woman over. The rest of the people were guarding the outside. And this woman was Morong Haining, the second object Lu Jin would complete the contract with today. Zhang Jinghua laughed. Ha, very good. Lu Jin, this is Morong Haining. I've probably spoken to her about the matter, so the two of you can just go directly to the contract. Lu Jin looked at Morong Haining who walked up to him and smiled. Although perhaps the town guard has already spoken to you, I still have to ask one more time, Morong City Lord, are you willing to contract with me? He was a rather conservative person and didn't like to force women, and if the other party wasn't willing, he wasn't going to force himself. Coming to this world, he didn't come to lose himself, but to enjoy life as much as possible while maintaining his true colors. Morong Haining sniffed and looked at the boy, her complexion a bit like Fu Huaxing. She was a strong woman. Her father was Morong Sun, the city lord of East Sea City, the main city of the Eastern War Zone. Almost all of the Morong family held positions such as city lord in various places. They were a family that was active in management. Back then, Morong Haining was hailed as the leader of the younger generation of the Morong family, and would inevitably lead the Morong family to a new level in the future. But she failed in her awakening. Without a strong strength, even with the help of her family and excellent management skills, she could never become a proper city lord. She was 25 years old this year and had struggled for 7 years before becoming the deputy city lord of a small city in the southern war zone. It wasn't until she was brought to Danjiang City this morning that the town guard of the Northern War Zone personally told her that there was such an opportunity and hoped that she could seize it. Zhang Jinghua indeed did not ask her about her wishes, but instead directly told her to complete her contract with Lu Jin and evolve into a powerful dragon spirit, and as long as she grew above the 7th rank, she would immediately become the city lord of a large city. It had always been her obsession to become a proper city lord, or rather, to become a city lord of a major city on a level like her father Morong Sun. So she had come with trepidation, but it was true that she had yet to make a decision on her own. And at this moment, this boy was asking himself the same thing she was asking herself. Has the choice really been made? Is it really willing? I'm willing. She looked at Lu Jin seriously and said, the position of city lord, the ambition to win, to become a strong man, is also the desire of the heart. The only opportunity is in front of the eyes, not to hesitate any longer. Lu Jin smiled and stretched out his hand, and Morong Haining placed her hand in his palm. The two of them walked onto the awakening stage and completed the contract. The dragon gate came out and the dragon spirit manifested. Morong Haining's dragon spirit was, quoted, a dragon blood divine beast with a dragon head and tiger body, but suppressed by the inexplicable rules of this world. It looked like a sick cat. At this moment, when she crossed the dragon gate, then her breath changed greatly. It was more than 3 zhang long, a dragon fin was borne on its back, its fur was a black and white pattern, its dragon head was majestic and overbearing, its 4 legs stepped on the cloud she, and it let out a kind of roar combining the roar of a tiger and a dragon. Morong Haining landed back on the ground, and Lu Xun saw her information in his mind. Morong Haning, quoted, SSS grade. Rank, First Order. Divine talent I, taking the clouds and harnessing the mist, can fly in the air and harness clouds and mist. Divine talent 2, Pupil of Truth, can see through illusions, distinguish right from wrong, and see the essence of things. Divine talent 3, Control of Gold, rank, SSS. Divine talent 3, Control Gold, can control gold objects, immune to gold spells. As Lu Xun looked at Morong Haining also looked at Lu Xun. Since Lu Xun had already made a contract with her, the status was undefended against her, and using the passive talent of True Pupil, Lu Xun's information also appeared in her mind. Lu Xun, 6th Order. Talent I, Divine Contract, Super God level. Talent 2, Dragon Gate, Super God grade. After seeing this information, Morong Haining was completely shocked and froze. Regarding Lu Xun's information, even Zhang Jinghua and the other higher-ups weren't clear about it. They were only certain that he wasn't an unusual SSS rank, but they didn't know how high his true rank was. Therefore, amongst the information that Zhang Jinghua had given Morong Haning, there was only a very vague mention of being a dual talent SSS rank. Such a talent was already very impressive. But after seeing Lu Xun's true talent level, it was only then that he realized that the original federal hierarchy had still underestimated him. The man that I, Morong Haining, contracted with is actually a super god level. Lu Xun possessed Morong Haining's talent skill, so he naturally knew that she was able to see through his own talent, and knew what her look of surprise was due to. He once again extended his hand and smiled. Lord City Lord, it is a great honor to fight alongside you. The fact that a possessor of a super god grade talent was treating himself so solemnly made that small vanity of Morong Haining's greatly satisfied. She placed her hand in Lu Xun's palm, and the two of them shook together. Your Honorable Imperial Dragon Envoy, I am also very honored to be able to contract with you. The two of them smiled at each other before walking off the contract stage. Seeing the two walking, Zhang Jinghua laughed openly. Lu Xun, you are a great contributor to the Federation. Together with Morong City Lord and Judge Fu, you have already acquired 7 SSS-class dragon spirits for the Federation, which is very good, and I hope that you will keep up the good work. I will have people sift through the information again and go up one term to see if I can find any more possible personnel. At that time, I'll have someone transfer the information to your bracelet, so you can check it at any time. Lu Xun nodded at his words and said, Good, then I will trouble Lord Jinghua. Zhang Jinghua said seriously. This is no longer a personal matter for you, it's a big matter that concerns the entire Federation, so don't say trouble. Saying this, he paused and looked at Morong Haining as well as Fu Huasheng both and said, At your family's place, I've already sent someone to explain the situation, find some time and talk to your family yourself. Lu Xun's matter is the highest level of confidentiality, there are some words that should or should not be said, you two high-ranking people who are engaged in political affairs should be clear. Morong Haining and Fu Huasheng nodded together and said, Understood. Zhang Jinghua spoke again. Lu Xun, your strength should have increased once again, right? It would be a waste for you to remain in the Blue Ice River water system now. A new demon den has appeared on the northeast plains, and this demon den can't be kept, it has to be destroyed. Both you and your contracted dragon spirits go there to fight, help the soldiers there to complete the suppression of the demonic monsters, and finally destroy the demonic den. Lu Xun knew that when he accepted Zhang Jinggua's help, he also needed to take on the corresponding responsibility, so he didn't push back and opened his mouth. Good, we'll set off immediately. Songjiang 117 Devil's Den. This was their destination. The 2 men and 7 women who had arrived here were Lu Xun and her 7 contracted dragon spirits, as well as her great-uncle Chiyu. The task on Blue Ice River's side was arranged and handled by the officials, so Lu Xun didn't need to worry about it, so he came to this side of the Devil's Den on the same day. Since the camp hadn't really been set up yet, everyone would have to sleep in tents. Lu Xun was going to cultivate with the 7 women, so naturally the 8 of them were in one tent, and Chiyu went to live with the other single soldiers. Morong Haining and Fu Huasheng were only at the first rank right now and needed to focus on cultivation. However, it was also because of the low rank that they were good to satisfy. Lu Xun dealt with these 2 and then went to satisfy the needs of the remaining few girls. Even though he had to fulfill the cultivation needs of 7 people on his own, he was still able to do so with ease. The addition of the 7 divine dragon bloodlines allowed his true dragon bloodline to reach a new level, whether it was the efficiency of absorbing spiritual energy or other aspects, all reached a new height. The person in charge of the Songjiang 107 Devil's Den was the 7th ranked Imperial Dragon Envoy, Zhang Benshu. He was Zhang Jinggua's grandson, and requested assistance from Zhang Jinggua, only to see that the visitors were actually a group of little dolls, the youngest looking like they had just graduated definitely no more than 3 years ago, and among them, there were even 2 first-order and 1 second-order dragon spirits. This made him feel very upset, but he didn't dare to get angry with the old man, so he can only come to seek trouble from Lu Xun and the others. Since you guys came here, you have to listen to my arrangements. Now come with me to a stronghold. I hope you can hold out. If you can't, go back immediately and replace them with a few capable people. What Zhang Benshu wanted was an expert with a 7th rank or above combat power, because this demonic cave detected a not-so-low energy fluctuation, and there was bound to be a strong individual presence within its interior, which could result in a huge sacrifice if there were no strong reinforcements. Whether it will work or not, we'll know once we try it, Lu Xun said with a smile. Zhang Benshu snorted coldly at his words, then led several people to a stronghold. He was just about to arrange something, but he suddenly felt the ground vibrate and a surge of demonic chi gushed out from the entrance of the demonic cavern. Immediately afterward, a powerful aura appeared. Instantly, Zhang Benshu's face changed greatly and he was shocked. 9th rank demonic monster. He was just about to call out to his dragon spirit, but he saw that Lu Xun had already rushed over towards that side. In midair, the dragon gate emerged, and after traversing it, a 20-foot-long 5-clawed golden dragon appeared in the crowd's view. Aang! The sound of a dragon's roar appeared, accompanied by a powerful aura that swept across the entire field. Zhang Benshu's mouth opened wide in shock, filled with disbelief. This is an aura that can only be achieved by a 10th rank Imperial Dragon Envoy. How could a 6th Order Royal Dragon Envoy possess the battle power of the 10th Order? This was too unbelievable. Furthermore, how could a Royal Dragon Envoy turn into a dragon spirit? Under the stunned gaze of the crowd, Lu Xun had already killed towards the 9th rank demonic monster that had the physique of a large goose, but its head was like an earthworm presenting a chrysanthemum mouthpiece. Thunder and golden light surfaced on his claws, which were not just evil-quelling golden light, but also the killing power derived from the power of gold control brought about by the quoted talent. Divine Dragon's Claw. Lu Xun attacked with a claw, thunder stirred throughout the entire space, and the golden light cut through the layers of black mist and landed on the demonic monster's neck. In an instant, the demonic monster screamed miserably and its head drooped, obviously severely injured. It panicked and was about to return to the demonic cave, but it was violently shocked into midair by a stream of water that suddenly appeared. This was an attack that Lu Xun had directly created a huge fountain with the Wen Qi talent of Shitua and then steeply unleashed it in conjunction with the water control ability of the Qi Dragon. As the demonic monster was being rushed up into the sky, he struck again and completely severed its neck with his sharp claws. The devil monster's huge corpse fell to the ground, causing the ground to shake. Lu Xun didn't stop, but continued to slay in his true dragon form, killing all those high-ranked demonic monsters that had appeared along with this 9th-ranked demonic monster. His attacks were simple and brutal, with a combination of various abilities such as the power of thunder, the golden light of evil suppression, and the power of killing. A single strike was the death of dozens of demonic monsters. The powerful pressure made those demonic monsters fearful, but the true dragon bloodline in his body had a great attraction to the demonic monsters. The two sensations pulled, causing them to hesitate, and during this time of hesitation, Lu Xun killed them. Half a second later, Lu Xun returned to the side of the several women with the 9th Order Yuan Dan that he had taken out from the body of that 9th Order demon monster. Su Zitong marveled. Brother, you've gotten stronger again. It's too outrageous for you to improve at such a rate. Everyone is an SSS ranked talent, is the difference so great? Zhang Benshu on the side was confused and subconsciously asked. You guys, are all SSS ranked talents? Ji Yu sniffed and grabbed the opportunity to speak. I may be grade talent, all of them, are SSS grade. Morong Haining, however, looked towards Lu Xun and smiled without saying anything, but in his heart, he secretly said, Lu Xun is an SSS rank, he's super god rank. We're not even god level, so who are we to compare with him? In her heart, she did not point it out. For one thing, she respected Lu Xun's choice, and for another, this kind of one secret that only she knew gave her a small sense of superiority. All SSS ranked talents? Is the world changing so fast now that SSS ranked talents have turned into cabbages that can be found everywhere? Ugh, no, you guys look obviously different in age, what's going on? Zhang Benshu desperately wanted to solve his doubts. Lu Xun briefly told him about his situation, and Zhang Benshu sighed. I told you that the old man wouldn't be confused about such things, so that's how it is. It seems that the destruction of this one demonic cave is also all thanks to your help. That's not what your brat said just now. Lu Xun nodded and laughed. We came here to help you accomplish this. What do you need us to do? Just say it. After displaying his strength, Zhang Benshu's attitude towards Lu Xun's few people greatly changed, and then the few people entered into a busy battle and cultivation. In order to destroy a demon den, the first thing you had to do was to clear out the first wave of demonic monsters, and it usually took about 22 to 35 days of continuous clearing, during which time there could be multiple demonic tides and the emergence of powerful demonic monsters. Lucian concentrated on cultivating a few girls. Morong Haniang and Fu Huasheng both used a day and a night to advance to the lower second rank. Time passed day by day. Fallen Zone, Een Devil Valley. The sect master of the Holy Spirit sect and the two hall masters were sitting in the middle of the palace, listening to the report of a black-cloaked man standing with his head down in the middle of the hall. When he finished, Yin Yuyao, the hall master of the Black Spirit Hall, spoke. Night Undermoon can burst out with 10th order battle power, even if it's just the lowest level, yet it's still touching the level of a demigod, that Lucian can't kill it. Since we sense the outbreak of the 10th rank aura, and there is also a strong divine aura remaining, it means that it was Zhang Jinghua who made a move. To be able to make Zhang Jinghua personally step in to protect him, there must be some secret hidden in this brat. Hua Hao, the hall master of the White Spirit Hall, spoke. What other secrets could there be? Isn't it the so-called divine dragon bloodline? He is a dual talent, both reaching the SSS rank, not to mention anything else, just the fact that he made those 5 women all turn into SSS ranks, that's our must-kill target. But if we want to kill him, it's almost impossible. After all, the old guys are protecting him so tightly, and he himself isn't a savior. This person cannot be killed yet. The sect master in the main position suddenly said. His true dragon bloodline interests me. There is a 10th-ranked Imperial Dragon Envoy, Long Zeno, and a 10th-ranked Dragon Spirit, Yin Dongshi, in the Northeast Plains. I want the two of you to work together. Make sure you capture him for me. I want to bleed him. The Black Spirit Hall and the White Spirit Hall had always been at odds and rarely worked together, but at this moment, the sect master had given the word and they had to listen. After some deliberation between the two, they decided that Hua Hao would go and hold back Long Zhe and Yin Dongshi, and then let Yin Yuyao deal with Lucian. Yin Yuyao said this. He even injured my man and caused me to lose one of my great generals. I'm not only going here to capture him, but also to kill all of his several dragon spirits. Time came to the 20th day of Lucian's battle at the Songjiang 107 Devil's Den. On this day, a large-scale demonic plague erupted in the northeast plains Songjiang No. 12 Demon Cave, with people from the Holy Spirit sect rebelling, and the two northeast border guardians, Long Zhe and Yin Dongshi, went out to suppress it. At the same time, at the Songjiang No. 107 Devil's Den, Lucian steeply sensed a powerful aura appearing, and he immediately protected Fu Huasheng, Jiran, and Morong Haniang, the 3 women beside him, behind him. On the opposite side, a woman with red hair and blue eyes wearing a dark green leather jacket appeared on high heels. She was walking down from mid-air, which represented the aerial ability that only a demigod-level powerhouse of the 10th rank could possess. To put it bluntly, it was a way of utilizing spiritual energy, which basically could only be mastered proficiently at the 10th rank. Lucian's eyes stared at this dull-faced woman, a face that, the more he looked at it, the more he felt a little weird and uncomfortable. The visitor was not good. Lucian summoned the dragon gate and took a step out, transforming into a true dragon. After Yin Yuyao sensed the aura released by Lucian, she was surprised. A month ago, you were only at the 9th rank battle level, but now you are truly stepping into the 10th rank. Why is your growth speed so fast? Suddenly, her gaze landed on Morong Haniang and Fu Huasheng next to Qi Ran. I see, so it turns out that contracting with these women of the so-called divine dragon bloodline will allow you to gain strength as well, right? Lucian didn't answer her and just looked warily, which made Yin Yuyao very annoyed. She sneered. You don't need to stall. Long Zhe and the others have no way to come and save you. Today, they will die, and you will be captured back by me as my male pet. Lucian did want to stall. This place was far away from Danjiang City, so the ones who were responsible for supporting him and giving him help were indeed Long Zeno's father and 2 men. But since the other party had said so, it seemed that he could only put up a fight. Lucian still didn't pay attention to Yin Yuyao. He was deliberately making the other party angry. No matter when, anger would affect judgment, which might allow him to seek an opportunity to strike. After Yin Yuyao finished speaking, she took on the form of a dragon spirit, a flying dragon with large wings, a wingspan of 50 feet, and covered in dark green scales. SSS Grade Dragon Spirit, Green Demon Poison Dragon. As soon as she completed her transformation, a green corrosive gas filled the ground around her, and even the land was corroded by the poisonous gas, not to mention the lifeforms. Lucian immediately drew a circle beyond the 3 Morong Haniang when he saw the situation, then utilized the negative tail's talent when she drank. Forbidden. As the words fell, a curtain of light rose from the circle and closed into a hemispherical cover, protecting the 3 women within it. Those dark green auras were blocked when they reached outside the light curtain. You guys stay right here, don't move, everything is with me. Morong Haniang and Fu Huasheng both looked somewhat moved. As strong women, they themselves resisted being protected by men, but at this moment, it was a moving emotion that arose. As for Qi Ran, she had long looked at Lucian with a worried face. She had already been protected by Lucian many times, and wasn't used to being protected. She just knew that she couldn't do anything about it. The only thing she could do was to pray for him in her heart. "There you are. With you to protect them? I'll kill them one by one in front of you." Inuyao roared, and above the large poisonous dragon head, two eyes that looked like blue fluorite shone down like searchlights as she opened her mouth to spew out a large amount of poisonous mist. In a flash, a gust of wind surged up, and the poisonous mist transformed into a rigid drill, while Inuyao flew behind it, falling towards Lucian in an onslaught. It was precisely her natural skill, the Yin Wind Poison Dragon Drill. The green whirlwind carried a strong corrosive nature, and its own high-speed rotating wind blade also had a strong tearing and cutting power. With this move, Inuyao had already killed two 10th-ranked demonic monsters with strong defenses. Those defenses that could not be broken with the sharp blades in great strength. Inuyao could drill an opening. As long as the defense was broken, the poisonous gas could cause serious damage to its internal body tissues. A body like a human's would turn into a puddle of pus in a short period of time once it was contaminated. Thunder surrounded Lucian's body, the evil-suppressing golden light released its radiance, and the sacred aura and killing power coalesced on top of his claws as he suddenly rushed towards the side of that poison dragon drill. He wasn't a fool, he wouldn't be foolish enough to confront the drill head-on. The significance of taking the initiative was that he could choose the location of the attack. This attack, as long as it destroyed its structure, would be automatically disarmed. Purple thunder and golden aura broke through an opening in the side of the poison dragon drill, and sure enough, this attack stopped immediately after the loophole appeared. Lucian directly entangled himself up and grabbed onto the back and wings of the green demon poison dragon, biting up against a large tendon at a joint location. But Inuyao wasn't the GZUF from back then, and although Lucian had also become stronger, it wasn't enough to suppress the SSS-ranked talent of a true 10th-ranked demigod-ranked Inuyao. She slammed into the ground with a violent fall, then turned around and bit into Lucian's body. When Lucian tore off a piece of flesh from her body with all his might, Inuyao also bit off a large piece of bloody flesh from his body. Then, Inuyao suddenly hissed in excitement. "Yummy! It's so delicious! I've eaten so many demonic monsters, even the 10th-ranked demonic monsters aren't as tasty as your flesh and blood, not even 1% of yours. I feel as if something is reviving in my body after eating your flesh and blood. Stronger power, higher talent, as long as I eat you, I will be able to evolve again, evolve into a stronger existence." Inuyao was completely frantic at this moment. Originally, she had felt that there seemed to be something in Lucian's body that she desperately craved for, and at first, she had thought that it was an illusion, and that it might be because she wanted the handsome man too much. But just now, after eating a piece of Lucian's meat and drinking a mouthful of his blood, she knew that that feeling wasn't an illusion, but rather a desire for Lucian's flesh and blood. That was a strong stimulus given by the demonic monster bloodline belonging to her fusion. As long as she ate him, she could become stronger. Therefore, she had already thrown the Holy Spirit sect master's order behind her. He wanted to eat Lucian all by himself, and she wanted to eat Lucian bite by bite. Seeing that Lucian was injured, Shiran, who was protected in the confinement, was excitedly about to rush out, but was stopped by Morong Haining and Fu Huaxing together. Fu Huaxing said, "If you go out now, the greatest likelihood is that you will die first, the two of us will die along with you, and Lucian will be killed because of the distraction." Morong Haining also said in a deep voice, "All we can do is wait and trust him. The distress message, which has already been sent out, depends on his own performance." Shiran calmed down and stopped rushing outwards. She knew that Fu Huaxing and Morong Haining were also worried, after all, not to mention the fact that we had all gotten along for so long and had become friends. Just looking at the current situation, if Lucian died, none of them would survive. However, the two of them were calm enough to not show any uneasiness, and just watched quietly. Perhaps, they really believe that Lucian can win. I should say, they can only believe that Lucian can win. The three women held hands and together they nervously looked at the few people fighting over there. Lucian was also in immense pain as he was bitten off a mouthful of flesh and blood by Inuyao, but he had indeed exerted his full power, with all sorts of abilities, unleashed together. But it was also a fact that Inuyao was powerful. Most of the attacks such as the Soundwave attack, unleashed at Lucian's current level, could not cause substantial damage to Inuyao at all. Instead, it was the most instinctive and direct bite that could cause injury. But after Inuyao, this woman bit him, it was as if she had contracted some kind of addiction and had a seizure, tearing at him madly. At this rate, he would definitely be swallowed whole by this woman. Lucian clenched his teeth and decided to fight as well. He took out the 10th rank Yuan Dan that he used for cultivation and directly swallowed it into his stomach, using Chico's devouring talent to fully activate it and absorb the energy inside. The 10th order belongs to the demigod level. This is the real 10th order energy, usually when cultivating, are held in the hand. A little guide absorption, at this time is directly a whole swallowed into the stomach. Such a crazy move, but also just have no choice but to the next best thing. Berserk energy began to wreak havoc in his body, and the energy that surged out in an instant made him almost burst. His body size suddenly grew, skyrocketing to nearly 49 feet, looking about the same size as Yin Yuyao's, while in reality, it was even more majestic. The divine dragon's claws landed on Yin Yuyao's back, forcefully tearing apart the dark green scales on her body, and the dragon's body tightly wrapped around Yin Yuyao's body, crazily tearing and devouring towards her internal organs and flesh and blood. For a while, the dragon spirits incarnated by the two of them twisted and fought in the sky, you biting me and I biting you. Yin Yuyo had fallen into a state of madness, not caring about her injuries at all. As long as she ate a bite of Lu Xun's flesh and blood, she could become 1 point stronger. However, she didn't have the same, devouring, talent as Lu Xun, so she couldn't actually digest the blood and flesh of Lu Xun that she had eaten. Lu Xun, on the other hand, used his, devouring, talent to stimulate the energy within the 10th rank Yuan Dan, and was still constantly devouring Yin Yuyao's blood and flesh, so his energy itself had been maintained at a level. At the same time, he was also using Shishi's spirit sacrifice, talent ability to suppress and weaken the demonic energy with his divine attributes on one hand, and on the other hand, he was constantly healing his injuries and recovering his strength. It was a process of this and that. Yin Yuyao, who had fallen into a state of madness, didn't even notice this phenomenon, and it wasn't until she was suddenly knocked to the ground by Lu Xun's blow that she realized that she had suffered serious injuries, and that she had actually lost to Lu Xun in terms of strength. Yin Yuyao's inner longing drove her to continue rushing towards Lu Xun, while her reason was telling her to see it through. In the few moments she was torn between them, Lu Xun had already flown high into the sky. Black dark clouds gathered, calling out the wind and summoning thunder, and with the body of a divine dragon, he descended supreme divine thunder. Aang! The flying dragon was in the sky, the divine dragon descended. Thunder accompanied the true dragon's body as it fell, rushing towards Yin Yuyao on the ground. At this moment, Yin Yuyao also knew that she couldn't dodge. Surprisingly, she was directly flying up, spewing out a large amount of poisonous mist, once again using the Yin Wind Poison Dragon Drill to charge towards Lu Xun. Powerful energy shockwaves were released, what with the thunder, poisonous gas, and dust, all of them were gone. The boundary protecting Qi Ran and the others was also rushed away, and the three of them were knocked out by the aftermath. Lu Xun. The three women who climbed up from the ground ran together towards the place where Lu Xun had crashed. At this time, there was no movement over there, and the boundary was broken, so if there was any danger, it would be the same whether they went over there or not. That was why they rushed straight over. Both Yin Yuyao and Lu Xun had regained their human form, and the former's entire head was gone. It was certain that it was already dead. The latter. Qi Ran held Lu Xun in her arms and probed his nostrils, realizing that he was still breathing weakly. At that moment, she hurriedly released her ability and activated her talent skill, Spirit Sacrifice, to give Lu Xun a treatment. Her first talent, Woodborn, could also heal, but with no plants around, this ability of hers was equivalent to nothing. Therefore, she could only pin her hopes on this second talent skill. However, no matter how much spiritual energy she used, she was unable to wake Lu Xun up. Fu Huaxing didn't know how to heal, but after carefully checking Lu Xun's state, she spoke. Don't treat him, his condition hasn't changed at all, treatment is useless. There's nothing any of us can do about his current condition. Just now, I received a message from Zhang Jinghua of the northern battle area. He's rapidly arriving, and it'll probably take him another 10 minutes or so. Wait! Qi Ran hugged Lu Xun and suddenly cried out loudly. It's me who's too useless. If I didn't need to protect me, with his strength, even if he can't defeat, he can still escape. Fu Huaxing and Morong Haining were also silent when they heard this, looking at Lu Xun with somewhat complicated eyes. It was thought that the words uttered by this big boy in the beginning were just a casual scene, but he was really using his actions to prove that as long as he was there, he would definitely not let them get hurt and would definitely protect them. An Imperial Dragon envoy who should have stood at the back to assist the dragon spirit in battle, but rushed to the front. They had only completed the contract and hadn't built up any deep feelings, much less agreed to enter the Hall of Marriage, but he was sincerely protecting each of them as his closest ones. How could this not move people? Lu Xun, husband. Several calls appeared one after another, but it was Xia Lingchan and the girls who had also arrived. Lu Xun brought the three girls to the side of the demonic monsters of a weaker level, so Xia Lingchan's girls fought in other positions, while Qi Yu fought directly with the regiment. In the beginning, when Lu Xun and Yin Yuyao fought, they actually saw it. With such a large size, in such an open place, they could certainly see it. Similarly, the few people who wanted to rush over to help were stopped by Zhang Benchu. A terrifying battle of this level was definitely not something they could get involved in. Getting close would be the same as actively sending a handle into the hands of the enemy. So they were strictly controlled and not allowed to get close. It was only until the dust settled that they were let over. Song Xiao pounced to Lu Xun's side and directly knelt on the ground, grabbing Lu Xun's arm and anxiously calling out, Hubby, you wake up. Wu Yu said you would support me for the rest of my life. Her tears didn't have the slightest bit of fakery in them and sprung out. Xia Lingchan, Wan Xinghan, and Su Zitong, all three of them also gathered around and surrounded Lu Jin in the center. Morong Haining hurriedly said, "You guys don't move him. He's not dead yet, but his injuries are so severe that he can't be treated, and we need to wait for a more powerful person to look at him before we can determine his state." As a former city lord, her language carried a sense of majesty within it, so it directly subdued the panicked hearts of several women, and everyone let go of Lu Jin, only to have him lean against Qi Ran's arms. Song Xiao was still crying. Su Zitong took her into her arms and comforted her. "Don't worry, Lu Jin is a man who keeps his promises. He said he would support you for the rest of your life. He will definitely be able to survive." Song Xiao just continued to sob when she heard this. Zhang Benshu, who had rushed over, was a little flustered when he saw the crowd either silent or crying. An SSS-ranked dual-talent genius, or a combat wizard with 10th-rank combat power at the 6th rank, and even a national treasure who was able to evolve 7 F-ranked dragon spirits into SSS rank through a contract. To die just like that within his jurisdiction. Not to mention the Federal Inquisition, even his grandfather alone would not forgive him. This culpability was great, even greater than the loss of the demon cave. Morong Haining saw his panic and said in advance without waiting for him to ask a question. Lu Jin isn't dead yet, he's just entering an unknown state of weakness and needs to wait for someone to recognize it. In fact, she could tell something by virtue of her natural skill, pupil of truth. For example, at this moment, Lu Jin's body surprisingly did not have a trace of spiritual energy in it, as if he had completely turned into an ordinary person. However, there was a space within his body that was harboring a huge amount of energy. She was able to see that although Lu Jin's breath was weak, his vitality was extremely strong, so he shouldn't be able to die, but whether he could wake up or not was not something she could tell. Knowing that Lu Jin did not die, Zhang Benshu was relieved, but seeing him still in such a state, he also generated a strong concern. Finally, waited for Zhang Zhenhua. He had already received the message sent by Morong Haining on the way, knowing what kind of situation it was now, and after seeing Zhang Benshu, he first gave him a kick, sending him flying out more than 20 meters. "If Lu Jin doesn't wake up, you'll be the sinner of the Federation." He cursed furiously, then without looking at Zhang Benshu, he directly came to Lu Jin's side. Zhang Benshu endured the pain and climbed up from the ground, even though this belonged to his passive backstabbing, but for Lu Jin to be injured like this in front of him while he was unable to do anything about it, he himself was also a bit ashamed. Therefore, he did not say anything and ran over again to listen to Zhang Jinghua explain the situation. However, after Zhang Jinghua probed once more, he saw a grave expression on his face and spoke. "Spiritual energy is lost, spiritual energy is weak, and the energy in the body is being collected together. Treating him hastily may cause that ball of energy to explode, and by then, it will be impossible for him to withstand it. Let's take him back to the main city first. I'll look for other 10th-ranked Imperial Dragon envoys and dragon spirits that specialize in healing to diagnose him." Zhang Jinghua clapped his hands, and the matter was settled. Bringing Lu Jin back to Danjiang City, after half a day, the first ones that should come came. Not to mention that it was so important to have Lu Jin's own talent be so powerful, it was to say that he had taken out the Holy Spirit Sect's Black Spirit Hall's 10th Order Demigod-level Hall Master with his own strength. This merit was enough for them to make such a big deal out of it. Even the Su family's old madam personally came over to conduct a consultation. The final result was that everyone was at their wits' end. At this time, the calm Morong Haining was the one who came up with an idea. Lu Jin's vitality mainly comes from his divine dragon bloodline. Perhaps, it is possible to awaken him by way of contracting a new divine dragon bloodline dragon spirit again. The next shift will have to be tomorrow morning. I'll try to write early, sorry about that. 5 shifts is really a bit of a strain. Zhang Jinghua's eyes lit up at his words and said, "Right. The most mysterious and powerful part of this kid lies in the divine dragon bloodline. As long as this bloodline power can be enhanced, he can definitely wake up again." When he said this, it was actually sort of to comfort himself. He really couldn't accept that a genius with high hopes, a person who could possibly lead the Yanxia Federation, or even lead the entire human race to a new level, would fall just like this. Now that there was a glimmer of hope, he was going to go all out to seize it. Old Lady Su sniffed and said, "The contracting process can be completed with one party taking the lead, but the possessor of this divine dragon bloodline, how should it be determined?" Morong Haining took the initiative to step forward and said, "I can determine it. One of my natural abilities is the pupil of truth, which is able to see through the essence of everything. All divine dragon bloodline possessors possess the divine dragon bloodline themselves, only that they haven't awakened it. As long as she awakens the dragon spirit, I can see if she has this bloodline in her body." Old Lady Su continued, "Even if you can tell, with so many people, where are you going to find them?" Morong Han's English was stuffed, but Song Xiao suddenly spoke. "I once heard Lu Jin say something about the divine dragon bloodline. He said that dragons give birth to 9 sons, but it doesn't mean that true dragons only have 9 bloodlines. 9 is the extreme of the number, that's why it's said that way." He also said a few names. Other than the dragon spirits of us few, there is one called Basha and one called Pepper. The others were not said. Good. Very good. Without delay, I will immediately send someone to sift through the list and search for information on these two dragon spirits. In addition, there is still a need for further determination, so I'll leave this matter to you. Zhang Jinghua said this last sentence, naturally to Morong Haining. The latter immediately agreed. Immediately afterward, the entire Federal Secretarial Corps began to get busy. However, until they had gone through the information of the past 20 sessions, they had not been able to find anyone's dragon spirit called by these two names. This gave them a sense of frustration. After trying so hard for so long, nothing was found. Lu Xun was still in a coma, his bodily functions maintained at a more stable state, like a vegetable. The only difference between him and a vegetable was that he didn't need to rely on food to sustain his life, and had enough energy in his body to maintain this low consumption state. The verification work is still continuing. If we can't find it in the 20th session, then we'll find it in the 30th and 50th sessions. It was always a hope. However, until a month later, they still found nothing. They couldn't find anything at all. Zhang Jinghua remained resolute and said, "Keep looking. Among the previous sessions, there is none, then wait for the next session, or the next. We can't give up any hope. Lu Xun will be the key to opening a new situation for us, it's worth doing so." Time rushed by, and 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. At this point, a whole year had passed from the moment Lu Xun awakened them. Lu Xun had fallen into a coma for 3 months. On the day of the awakening, in the middle of the East Sea Academy, Ai Qingyuan patted his young granddaughter Ai Sang's shoulder and said, "Go on, today is the moment to decide your fate. Grandpa believes that you will be able to do it." He. "Of course I can," Aisin said arrogantly, then with a flip of her 2 ponytails, she bounced towards the awakening stage. As the granddaughter of the dean and the genius girl of the East Sea Academy, she immediately drew all the attention as soon as she stepped onto the stage. Zhang Bo, the youngest son of the Zhang family, who had already awakened his SS grade talent, even came under the awakening stage and said fondly, Sang, when your awakening is complete, we'll go to the contract and I'll take care of you for the rest of your life." Ai Sang didn't pay any attention to him at all. Her little chin lifted up and she played an arrogant mane. She put her hand on the crystal ball, the spell activated, and a white light flashed. Aisen's figure disappeared, and a creature that was over a meter in length and resembled a turtle appeared in its place. Name, Aisen, Dragon Spirit Form, Basho, Bloodline Talent Level, F Class. After a moment of silence, no one in the field knew who laughed out first, followed by jeers that came like a tidal wave. "Ha ha, laughing me to death, the granddaughter of the Dean of the Eastern Sea Academy has awakened an F-ranked turtle. I was expecting to see a powerful dragon, and this is what you show me? Isn't she usually quite proud? A stinky turtle, what's there to be proud of?" Funny. "Young Zhang, are you going to contract with an F-ranked loser?" Someone asked such words and many people gathered their gazes on Zhang Bo's body. The latter had also just regained his senses from the image of Aisen's failed awakening, and immediately and subconsciously waved his hand and said, "Are you kidding? I'm not going to contract with a loser. Just now he said he would take care of people for the rest of his life, and now he's calling them a waste. Bah, down head south." Many people cursed unanimously in their hearts. But then a large group of girls came over and wanted to contract with him. These women with no more than A-rank talent at the highest. Zhang Bo naturally couldn't look at them. He looked at Aisen on the awakening stage and said, "It seems to be that we are not destined to be together after all, farewell." After saying that, the person left at a rapid pace. He had to go and see other academies, whether there were any real talented girls appearing. Ai Sang, who came back to his senses, directly cried out, then ran down the awakening stage. Ai Qingyuan, however, grabbed him and then brought him to the middle of the office and opened his mouth. Sang, don't cry, you are not a failure of awakening, you are not a waste." Ai Sang looked up at Ai Qingyuan with teardrops in her eyes and sobbed. "Is an F-ranked dragon spirit still not a waste?" Ai Qingyuan shook his head and said, "Do you still remember your sister Su Zitong Su? She was awakened with an F-rank talent just like you in the beginning, but last year, she was promoted to SSS rank." Ai San sniffed in shock. "Sister Su actually became an SSS rank? I haven't seen her for a long time, she's no longer the president? In your case, it should be the same as hers, a kind of dragon spirit with a divine dragon bloodline. Last year, she contracted with a person, which allowed her bloodline to awaken for the second time, and she jumped to become a SSS class dragon spirit, and has now grown to a 5th-ranked Imperial Dragon Envoy. Nowadays, she is not in the Eastern Battle Zone, but in the Northern Battle Zone." Ai Qingyuan said, "But that person has already contracted with Sister Su. Where would I find another person who can make me awaken twice?" Ai San said with a deflated mouth, still with a crying voice. "That's the point I was going to make." Ai Qingyuan paused before continuing. "The person who contracted with Su Zitong is called Lu Xun, and Su Zitong is not his first contract object, but the 4th. He can contract an unlimited number of dragon spirits of the divine dragon bloodline to help them complete their awakening and evolution. So far, he had 7 contracted dragon spirits. 3 months ago, in order to protect his 3 dragon spirits, he fought against Yin Yuyao, the head of the Holy Spirit cult's Black Spirit Hall, a 10th Order SSS ranked gifted person, and the final result was that Yin Yuyao died while he became a vegetable. Some time ago, I went to the Northern War Zone just to discuss with the experts about his treatment. AI Ching Yuan stopped once again when he said this, but AI San suddenly understood and said, "The method you guys finally came up with is to make him contract with another person?" AI Ching Yuan nodded and said, "There is a powerful energy within his body. Any other form of treatment, or any stimulation for that matter, could cause his body to explode and die. The only feasible way at the moment is to find another dragon spirit of the divine dragon bloodline." Regarding the dragon spirit of the divine dragon bloodline, the object of his contract, Song Xiao, gave 2 names, one was Pepper, and the other, Basha. "What do you think about this matter?" Aisin hesitated for 2 seconds before speaking. I am willing to contract with him and save him." AI Ching Yuan was both relieved and heartbroken as he sighed and said, "You have to think about it, he already has 7 contracted dragon spirits. Are you really willing to share a man with 7 other girls?" Aisin was calm at this time, and opened her mouth to say, "But I don't have any other choice. If I don't contract with him, I will only be an F-rank waste, which is something I can't accept. What's more, the fact that he's worth all the trouble you've taken to save him means that he's important to the Federation, and I should go save him. Moreover, didn't you say, Grandpa, that he was beaten into a vegetable in order to protect his dragon spirit? In order to protect the object of his contract, he dared to fight to the death with a 10th Order SSS ranked gifted dragon spirit. Such a man is also exactly what I want. If Sister Su can, why can't I?" AI Ching Yuan nodded. "I reckon that